Around the world on myjoyonline.com, across Ghana's 16 regions on the Joy News channel. This is the most informative, educative and analytical breakfast show on the blog. Folks, welcome aboard the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi.
And I am Samuel Kojobre. Such a beautiful day. Be available to take advantage of this beauty that the day comes with. But you know what? On the breakfast show today, we have the AM news. Sweetie Abochi will do that for you. After that, we'll bring you the news review segment on which we'll have Dr. Ekia Mwakwa. She is the MPP Communications Directorate member. She'll be joining us. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is the CEO, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFEC. Remy Edmondson is National Secretary of the, I think Edmondson
PPP.
is the PPP.
Yes.
Rather, he will also be joining us on the news review. After that,
our big stories. Now, a lot happened yesterday. We started from that news of the raid of Ofori-Atta's house, then the press conference from Kisi Ajabeng. But while we try to wrap our head around all that happened, we now know that Ofori-Atta is a fugitive. Over an inquest by the special prosecutor into 5 cases, he's believed to be a suspect. And it's generating controversy and deepening the already polarized political atmosphere. Because yesterday in Parliament, the minority were outraged at the military raid of his residence in his absence. But the majority insists Ofori-Atta must come and pass the accountability test. This and many related issues we'll be digesting this morning on the AM show. But that's not all.
Also, livelihoods reduced to ashes. We take you to Kantamanto, where the fate of some 8,000 traders continue to hang in the balance. Despite some 2.8 million cedis relief funds secured, we ask, what can we do to ensure that these things do not happen and to safeguard the future of these traders? Join us with your thoughts on all our social media handles and on phone to have your say. Do stay with us. Let's begin the show with the AM News with Sweetie Abochi.
Welcome. This is the AM News. I'm Sweetie Abochi. Let's start from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, because he's taking full responsibility for the high-profile cases that have been dropped, insisting that he was not directed by President John Dramani Mahama to do so. The 7 discontinued cases include that of the former Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana, now Acting Governor Johnson Isiama. The Attorney General withdrew all charges against him after he was implicated in the collapse of Unibank and UT Bank. Now, the AG also dropped the case brought against former Minority Leader and now Finance Minister Dr. Keso Latto-Forson and Richard Jakpa in the ambulance procurement deal. The long-standing trial involving former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Kwabunopuni and businessman Seydou Agongo was also dropped after they were accused of causing 271 million Ghana cedis financial loss through the Lithovit Foiler fertilizer scandal. But speaking at a news conference yesterday to explain the dropping of these 7 cases, Dr. Ayine explained that the Office of the Attorney General came to those conclusions after a thorough professional examination of these cases. And the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, asked the public to hasten slowly in declaring President Mahama as a clearing agent. Here's more.
In conclusion, I wish to make it abundantly clear that I did not take these decisions lightly. As I indicated above, I consulted widely and reviewed the files diligently before coming to a decision on each of the cases. You would note that in some cases, such as the SNIT case and the banking cases, I withdrew the charges against some of the accused persons, while others are still under consideration. I am keenly aware of the need to balance the public interest, in this case, against the interests and rights of the accused persons. Also, as Attorney General, I take absolute responsibility for all the decisions so far taken. I am not under any instructions or pressure to discontinue any case or to bring charges against anyone. Those who are in a haste to tag His Excellency the President of the Republic as a clearing agent should hasten slowly, because he is not responsible for prosecutions and has not directed me to drop any case. Moreover, with the exception of one charge of bribery in the Opuni matter, in respect of which, listen, no evidence was laid, none of the persons affected by my decision so far has looted state resources. There is a gulf of difference between the offense of causing financial loss to the state or misapplication of state funds.
That's the Attorney General there. But moving on, call it a double tragedy and you won't be far from the truth. Because yesterday, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is reportedly being detained by medical doctors in the United States of America over a possible aggravation of his medical condition, which may warrant that he undergoes a surgical operation. However, this supposed medical condition of Ken Ofori-Atta has attracted backlash from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, who says he's been in search of the former government appointee to no avail. In an outburst while returning to a press conference yesterday, Kisiaja Bing says he's left with the impression that the former finance minister, is evading interrogation over a possible crime he might have committed. Based on this, Joy News can confirm that Ken Ofori-Atta is now a wanted man.
I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. This person is wanted by the OSP to answer charges in respect of several cases, including the following. 1. Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the stated objective of the enhancement of revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. 2. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction, and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Xiaocheng Technology BXC. 3. Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. 4. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives, to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service. And 5. Payments out of and utilization of the tax refund account of Ghana Revenue Authority. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta. And this is to Mr. Ofori-Atta. You have two choices. You can either return to the jurisdiction voluntarily or the OSP will enforce your return. We are not without the milk of human kindness to appreciate and reckon a person's medical condition. But when you conduct yourself in a certain way to suggest that all you are doing is just a ruse and that you have no intention of returning to the jurisdiction, that is the conclusion we have come to. You see, as I said, the first communication to us was clear, that he was away indefinitely from the jurisdiction on medical grounds. Then we pushed further. You cannot tell us that you've gone out of the jurisdiction on medical grounds on your say-so. If you're a serious law enforcement agency, would you just take a person's declaration that, oh, I am so much an invalid that I'm unable to come? You would demand, Elton, you would demand to know more, right? And that is exactly what we did. So we pushed. The response that came was unconvincing. That he may, at some future time, undergo possible surgical procedure. And I said something which is very crucial. There's intelligence available to us, which we do not want to reveal now because it may compromise the investigation. That tells us that, and that's what I stated, that it is just a ruse, that he can travel to the jurisdiction. It's not as if he comes to the jurisdiction, we'll promptly lock him up and throw the key away. It is a process we go through. This is a democratic institution with very well prescribed constitutional and statutory legal processes.
In a related matter, the minority in Parliament have taken on Special Prosecutor Kisi Ajabing for going after former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The former minister was declared wanted by the OSP yesterday, and the NPP accused the Special Prosecutor of being politically motivated. But the NDC side has been pushing back. There's more in this report by Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante.
The decision by Special Prosecutor Kisi Ajabing to declare the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta wanted has drawn criticism from the NPP side in Parliament. There was an urgent statement delivered by Habib Idrisu, the first Deputy Minority Whip, who criticized the Special Prosecutor for being politically motivated in his actions.
To express my profound concern to the formally condemn the recent action taken by the Office of the Special Prosecutor in declaring Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta a wanted fugitive. The basis for this declaration rests solely on the assertion that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has not responded to requests to appear before the OSP in person. The implications of this incident extend beyond the individual involved. They strike at the very heart of our nation's commitment to justice, accountability, and the rule of law. When institutions like the OSP deviate from their mandate and operate in a matter that appears arbitrarily, they jeopardize our collective effort to build a society based on fairness and respect for the rights of all citizens.
But the NDC side have been hitting back. According to John Jinapor and Isaac Adongo, there is nothing political about the decision taken by the Special Prosecutor.
Very simple matter. You are scared of it. Mr. Speaker, let me explain something. The OSP has declared Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta as a fugitive. As a fugitive. Mr. Speaker, in our local language, fugitive, in our local language, it means that what didn't work Kamura. What didn't work Kamura. Or to put it simply, wajibam. That in our country, the biggest perceived enemy of our economy is being defended the way my colleagues are doing. And everybody knows the Public Financial Management Act is very clear that you cannot commit this state to a multi-year contract without the Minister for Finance, himself issuing a commencement certificate. And yet, after he issued a commencement certificate, he was still drawing on contingency fund as if he didn't know about the project. And he thought that you could do that as long as you want.
But Dominic Nitiwu really believes that the practice of using soldiers and national security operatives to raid the home of former government officials is something that should be criticized.
My brother, you don't use soldiers to raid somebody's home in a democracy. Yes.
While delivering his remark, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin called on the political class to unite and fight matters like these.
We are not sending the right signal to our electorate. Mr. Speaker, the man has put the state on notice of his absence from the jurisdiction. To support this call in bringing sanity in the country, so that nobody will take advantage to unleash any violence on anybody.
Mahama Yaraga believes the argument that the political class must unite to fight what is clearly the push for accountability is not something that is right.
Several times there was a referral to a group known as a political class. And several times a call on members of the political class not to do this to each other. And what do we mean by let's not do this to each other? Let's not, when there is a change in government, try to hold each other accountable this way or that way.
I take a position that, indeed, the reason why the voters go and vote for one political party as against the other is so that they will come and hold each other accountable. The day that we stop holding each other accountable, that will be the day the electorate will lose confidence in this democracy.
This debate nearly degenerated into some chaos on the floor of Parliament, especially as the majority leader did warn at the start that this could lead to certain comments being made against the former finance minister that would disparage his reputation. Again, the point was made that a special prosecutor is an independent organ of state that is actually doing its work, and Parliament should not be seen as interfering in it.
Some Ghanaians are hailing the government's decision to scale down the National Independence Day celebration as it moves the parade from the Black Star Square to the seat of government, the Jubilee House, to cut costs. Some of those who have been speaking to Joy News say the decision to reduce the grand ceremony to a more modest one is laudable and will help the country save money. We'll tell you more in this report.
If he is telling us that for now we have to move it from the parade at the Black Star Square to the Jubilee House, I think it's cool, because even when this celebration started, we had a whole lot of schools going to march. The number reduced. Now they are moving it from one region to the other, which was also fun, and it was also educative. But if this is the new 10 he wants us to go, it's cool.
I also think it's a good initiative, and yes, that will cut down on cost, and also people would then tend to relax more, and then have some of those who go on parade also rest. And I believe it's a good thing, and we look forward to having that and enjoying the celebrations at home.
It's not bad. I think cutting the cost makes sense, but excluding the students from this is going to be somehow, but I don't know. But cutting the cost, I think cutting down the cost makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, but I would prefer involving the students. What the president is saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah, already the country is down with a lot of costs. Even so, with the cost side, 100%.
We can choose one particular place to do that kind of program. That's the Independence Square. We can do it at that place because independence is for Ghanaians. So everybody has the right to enjoy that freedom. So you can't just move it from that place to a particular place. Like you are going to choose a specific people to be there. No.
To me, it's very good because growing up, I was marching, and we sometimes go and be in the sauna. So to me, if you ask me, the marching aspect is good. And if the president is cutting costs and they are now celebrating at the Jubilee House, I also think that's fair, because lots of people wouldn't be able to go there, and they would be watching from their house and all that.
To me, I think it doesn't make sense for moving it from Independence Square to Flagstaff House or Jubilee House, because when you check the population of Ghanaians, all of us can't fit in there, you know.
In other stories, Health Minister Kantamanto has assured the people of the Upper West region that they should not panic over the surge in cases of cerebrospinal meningitis in the region. Speaking to the press after a close of his day's visit to the region, he stated that the situation was under control as they've doled out enough logistics, vaccines and antibiotics to fight the disease. The Upper West region so far has recorded 94 suspected cases, 19 confirmed cases and 14 deaths from cerebrospinal meningitis. Kantamanto called on persons who experience symptoms of the disease to seek early treatment at the hospitals. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Health Minister Kantamanto Akando, accompanied by the Acting Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akure, and other high-profile personalities from the service, first engaged in a closed-door meeting with the management members of the Upper House.
Going forward, we are going to provide whatever it takes to be able to contain this disease. For now, we have brought some number of items. The antibiotics they are using, we have brought enough. And the directive is that anybody who suspects, whether you are sneezing, coughing, you have neck stiffness, you must rush quickly to the nearest health facility, and that person will be taken care of free of charge.
Upper House Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Damien Powiri, then laid bare the situation updates on meningitis in the region.
Largely the cases that have been confirmed so far, we have 20 confirmed. One type of organism, strep pneumo, is what is causing the problem. And only the other type is the Neisseria meningitis case. So that is the situation in the region. And this organism is deadly, it spreads slowly. But if you don't start treatment promptly and the person gets into an unconscious state, it's difficult for the person to recover.
The health minister then headed to the Warner's Palace, where he called on the overlord of the Wala State, Nafusen CDP IV. One major issue which was of concern to the Wala overlord was the Upper House Regional Hospital, who started operations in 2020 without seed capital. Jempen Nakadir Ibrahim speaks for the Wala overlord.
At the time, we were informed that the hospital was going to take off with some seed capital. During the commissioning, the seed capital hadn't been made available to the regional hospital. And that, among other factors, made the hospital to commence work under some difficulties. Some sections of it were also under operationalized. So His Majesty wants to use this opportunity to call on you, Honorable Minister, to take up that issue.
The health minister has this response.
We have taken note, and just as you rightly indicated, I have just taken office 2 days ago. We will give it the attention it deserves immediately.
Teaching and learning of information and communications technology at Ibasua DA Basic School is receiving a major boost following the construction of a well-equipped ICT lab by a philanthropist. The gesture from the renowned American preacher Apostle Wayne Jackson and his wife followed a similar donation of a junior high school block, toilet facility, and a mechanized borehole to the community less than a year ago. He's on a quest to turn that small farming community in the Sechere Central District of the Ashanti region, noted for its religious pilgrimage, into a tourist hub. We'll tell you more in this report.
The popular Atria Mountains attract hundreds of Christian pilgrims each year who visit the area for spiritual retreats. Apostle Wayne T. Jackson, who first visited the mountains in 2023, says he is responding to a divine call to support the local community. He has already donated a JHS block, a toilet and water facility, as well as modern palace to the local traditional authority. The projects, completed in a record 5-month period, are aimed at bringing education to the doorstep of the community and also raising the standard of living of residents. Junior high school students are required to pass an ICT exam as part of their progression to senior high school. But pupils and their teachers at the local Abesia District Assembly Basic School are forced to study and teach information and communications technology in abstract. Teachers hope their students will imaginatively study complex ICT topics without hands-on practical lessons.
They only understand the theory, but they've never tried their hands on any computer before, so they just know the theory.
Kunedu Yadom Kwabna, an ICT teacher, says neither himself nor the students should be blamed for their predicament.
I am not to be blamed, neither the students are to be blamed, but this is the problem at hand.
But thanks to the benevolence of Apostle Wayne T. Jackson and wife, Dr. Beverly Jackson, an ICT lab stocked with 60 computers, monitors, and internet connectivity is set to be donated to the school. Head teacher of the school, Richard Boachi, is impressed at the new developments in the school.
I feel so much excited because we haven't even dreamt of getting in the ICT lab furnished with the computers, 60 computers with projector and Wi-Fi. In fact, we haven't dreamt of getting all these things. But by God's grace and through his servant, Apostle Wayne T. Jackson, I always say that he's a person who is sent by God.
While describing the support from Apostle Jackson as a divine intervention, he is upbeat of the prospects of the school in attracting students from nearby communities.
We have ICT as a subject on our timetable, but because we do not have the device or the equipment, always our teachings are abstract. We teach the student in abstract form. For example, when we are teaching the student like parts of computers, we will mention something like input device. In abstract form, the child is supposed to know an input device, but because we do not have the computers and its accessory, it's very difficult for the child to understand this is an input device, or this is an output device, and this is a processing device. But with this one, I hope when the child comes and we have to teach the child parts of the computer, at least we can teach or show the child what an input device is. Since Apostle helped us to establish the GHS for us, right now we have about 5 new students who have joined us. So with this ICT, with the computers, I know a lot of them will come.
The support from Apostle Jackson and family has compelled residents to unite to push for development in the community. Nana Kwame Redu is the chief of Abesia. He is happy the community has seen more development during his reign. Meanwhile, Apostle Wayne T. Jackson is promising to turn Abesia into a tourist hub. Ohimin Terriers reports for Joy News.
Now, to mark 25 years since completing school, the Achimota 2000-year group is giving back to the alma mater with the construction of an 18-classroom block. Now, over 50% complete, the project is on track for completion ahead of November's Speech and Prize Giving Day. Jennifer August reports.
To address the infrastructure gap at the school, the 2000-year group is constructing an 18-unit classroom block as a contribution to the institution. The patron of the 2000-year group, Ignatius Nanapoko Ajiman, explains that the project involves an ultra-modern classroom block which will be equipped with an electronic board to align with the evolving needs of society.
Oh, it's an ultra-modern classroom block. It comes with a teacher's common room, an ICT lab, the state-of-the-art classroom. We are not going to use the normal blackboards, electronic boards. But now society is moving, it's dynamic, and we need to conform to changing trends. And that is why we are doing this today. So it's an ultra-modern classroom block, 18 units, ground floor, 2-story, to address the needs of the infrastructure gap. We'll hand over to the school and to be part of the school's infrastructure. But we are making plans to have also a maintenance fund so that we'll maintain the facility, even though it will be for the school. Once it's built by the 2000-year group, we have to make sure that we maintain that facility. So I urge all and sundry, both past students and present students, to make sure that we always rekindle the spirit of Achimota. Our motto is simple, Ut omens unum sed, that all may be one. Let us come together as one and make sure that we sustain the legacy of Achimota School.
Chairperson of the Legacy Project, Michael Ballet Vanderboy, confirms that
Let's get into our business update segment now with Samuel Kojobrace.
On the AM news, we start off with the currency market. Now, away from that, economist Professor Patrick Esuming has disclosed that there is still more the government needs to do in order to achieve the projected growth rate target for the year. According to him, there must be the deliberate effort to invest more in energy and agriculture to drive the projected growth. His views follow the World Bank's forecast of Ghana's economy, which is expected to expand by 4.2% and 4.8% in 2025 and 2026, respectively. Professor Esuming told this to the Joy Business.
If you look at how the 2024 started, even ending with 4%, even though it's higher than what we projected when we started the year, it's still very low. It's still below our growth potential. And if 2025 expands by only 4.2, it's still way below our potential. So I think there's still a lot of work to be done. The risks that we identified mostly are external to ourselves, but I think domestically, we really have to ensure that we make the right investment. I think it's interesting that the prior report was about financing, because I think the government is in a very tight spot in terms of where to find additional financing from. If the growth in public expenditure over the last 10 years had been committed to investment in energy and agriculture, for instance, I'm sure we would be seeing the fruit. So, even with the meager finances, I think making sure that we invest more to improve our energy sector, as well as committing more to agriculture, I think that's something we should be paying attention to.
Wrap it all up with what is happening on the commodities market. That's all in Business Update on the AM News. Back to you, Suti Abochi.
Thank you, Kojo. And that's a very beautiful breast kerchief you have there. And let me tell you, those who are joining us for News Review this morning, Dr. Ikuya Mwako is NPP Communications Directorate member. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is CEO, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication. And of course, Remy Edmondson, National Secretary for the PPP. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back with the News Review segment. Good morning again. If you're just joining us, this is the AM show, and this segment is the News Review segment. My guest and I are about to reflect or review the stories making the airwaves. And Dr. Ikuya Mwako is a member of the NPP Communications Directorate, and Remy Edmondson is National Secretary of the PPP, and they join me to review the newspapers in studio. Gentleman and lady, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, I know there's so much happening in the country right now. It makes us, those in the media excited because there's so much to talk about. But Remy, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Let me start with you.
Okay. All right. So I'll just, my opening take is I want to commend the president for scaling down the Independence Day celebrations.
Right.
I mean, that's a right step, and I'd wish that subsequent presidents will also uphold this. I mean, we always ask, what exactly are we celebrating, especially with all the fanfare and the huge financial expenditure incurred in doing so. I believe it should be a day for reflection, and I don't think as a nation we have gotten to that point where we really have anything worth celebrating. I mean, we are still so much in debt as a country, and so much is going wrong as a nation. So it's a good call, it's a right step to cut down this cost.
Okay.
And then also, Last, let me just briefly also on the issue of the Council of State elections. That I think looking at what's going on, I personally feel that it's probably about time we really look at the essence of this council. A body that essentially the president is not mandated to take the advice. Every president comes in with his own vision. The constitution mandates him to spell out and then appoint key people into certain positions to help him carry out his vision. So and looking at what is happening, the fact that even you're aware it's 2 people per district who should vote.
Yes.
No citizen is consulted in this regard. So on what basis even are they voting for the candidates? And again, we don't really seem to have any real structured criteria as to who qualifies to serve on the Council of State. Okay, so
well, the president appoints some of them. Some members, those who served in previous government roles, and then the 16 representatives from the region, which are supposed to come from the district level, the municipal and district level.
That's correct.
Yeah, so there's a system to it.
I'm talking about the competence.
Right.
Just talking about the competence, yes. So, I mean, these are things that we really need to look at and examine properly if there's really a need to, because and the bits of mine, I'm asking myself, why are all these agitations? I mean, it's becoming just like our regular elections.
Yeah.
Why the agitations and why the violence if I want to come in and serve, as it were, to come and advise the president?
You know?
What is in there? What are they also getting? What benefits are in there? For which reason? People are agitating so much, and we're seeing so much violence in some of the regions. Yes, so that's one area we need to look at.
Thank you, Remy. Doc? What are you reflecting on
today,
this morning?
There's so
you look
much.
beautiful today. Thank you.
Thank
By
you
the way, I wanted to... No, sorry, go ahead.
You didn't tell me I'm handsome.
What?
That's discrimination. You didn't tell me I'm handsome.
You look
I'm
really
sorry, I'm biased towards the ladies. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's been a lot happening. As you said, it's a very interesting week. You blink and you miss it. So what I want to discuss this morning is the new Attorney General's press conference yesterday. I was really looking forward to it because I expected to see more cogent reasons for dismissing the charges. The first problem I have with the way we are handling that situation is we are lumping all of the charges together and
the cases
together to dismiss them. But some started as far back as 2017, some started as late as 2020 and after. So if you lump them together and say after 8 years you haven't been able to prosecute them, so let's let them go, it's neither here nor there, and it doesn't inspire confidence in us as citizens, especially considering that the new president entered office on a large ticket of anti-corruption. So it still doesn't look good at all. I know when the charges were dropped, a lot of conversations were had and people were waiting and hoping that the Attorney General will be able to explain it away. But after the press conference, I think there are still more questions than answers as to why these charges have been dropped, especially since the ex-president was labeled a clearing agent. I think the Attorney General even mentioned that he is taking sole responsibility for these decisions he's making. That is understandable, but if you look at the yardstick that the previous government was judged with, especially when it comes to matters of the judiciary, which naturally there's supposed to be separation of powers. You don't expect so much interference. But every time the judiciary made a decision, it was strongly linked to the executive and to the former president. And he was also called a clearing agent, even though he was not the Attorney General. So now to come and expect to be treated differently is something that I don't understand, and I think
what is the point of contention? Is it that he didn't give us enough explanation? Because he did say that he had reviewed the cases individually, thoroughly, and in good conscience. He said in good conscience he cannot continue to prosecute these cases. But that notwithstanding, that's not the end of the cases entirely.
Yes.
The nolle prosequi doesn't mean that a case cannot be continued if new evidence comes to light. So I want to understand your point.
Let's sit down and see if these cases are ever going to come back and see the light of day in the next 4 years. Let's just see. I'm not holding my breath. Number one, some of the cases we've had a lot of information on. It's like Sagleme. Again, I keep saying, if you lump them together, then it's easier to just say, oh, you've had so much time, blah, blah, blah. But if you take them singly, when you look at Sagleme, 200 million for 5,000 homes, when you do the math of what we eventually had, 1,000 homes, which were not even completed because the ex-government had to put more money into it, there's about 160 million it's unaccounted for there.
Right.
Don't we want answers to some of these questions? Because you can't go on to start an anti-corruption campaign when you haven't cleaned your own house. It doesn't look good.
You know, some could argue that if you really want detailed explanation, you could just ask, because we have you can just file an RTI request.
Yes,
and ask the Attorney
I'm
General
sure.
to give you details.
I'm sure us in the MPP setting out to be a very cogent opposition will do exactly that. But looking at the facts that we have available, we can't find any logical reason for some of these things.
All right.
We do understand that proving some of these cases can be very difficult. I always say this, like, people think that when you're in government and you steal money, it's as simple as signing a check or something like that. It's way more complicated. You can't do a lot of these things like that. So sometimes proving cases of corruption are tricky.
All right.
But when there's like almost half of the value of the contract is unaccounted for, you know.
Let's see how it unfolds.
Yes, I agree with you.
Let's start with the newspapers. I believe this story is on all the newspapers we have this morning. Former Finance Minister wanted, and ex-NPA boss, 8 others under investigation, according to Kisia Jabin, Office of the Special Prosecutor. Should we start there, ladies and gentlemen? Remy, what did you make of first the news of the raid? I think it's a lot of things happening all around Ken Ofori-Atta and the others involved. First, we got news of the raid of his house in his absence. Then there was that press conference from Kisia Jabin. And then Parliament weighed in on the conversation, some saying that, you know, political actors should come together and protect themselves from this. And then the majority leader is saying that, well, if you say protect, how do we hold leaders accountable? But what do you make of all of it?
Yes, I will start from the subject of accountability. I definitely will support calls for looking into any established reasons for malfeasance for any public officer. It is quite worrying. I think we've had calls to discuss Parliament in the several times because of what happened during the vetting, appointment committee vetting issues. And so yes, personally, there's been the notion that our MPs or our government officials do not somehow feel accountable to the people. Okay, yes, based on some of their rhetoric and actions. I'm very happy the majority leader, spoke against that notion. We all have been in the country, and we all have had issues with some of the decisions that the former finance minister took with regards to the economy of the country. And so if there's a cause for him to be investigated, for me it's a good call, but we need to follow rule of law.
Okay.
Let me go on to the matter of the raid, since it's connected to the issue.
Which the Kisia Jabin says was staged, by the way.
Yes, and then the pictures also coming out that I've seen, that we've all seen, that have been shared from footage of the video, suggest otherwise. Because we are seeing people in military uniform. I don't know if they are actually from the military, and here we need, since Kisia Jabin is emphatic, he is not responsible for those people, and they were not in police uniform, so we cannot go and ask the IGP. Then we need a military hierarchy to also come out and make a statement. We need to know who sent them. If it's not the OSP who is investigating this matter. It's being alleged that one of the people in there is our good friend who just recently was let off, spent so many years in court, Mr. Jakwa. So the question is, what is he doing there? And for me, it raises a lot of questions, because what mandates does he have to be part of this team? I don't know.
You did say alleged, so.
Yes, well, and then if so, and then again, they even have any warrant to go and search the premises, because it's worrying. Today, look, I always say that being an opposition party doesn't mean I should just jubilate when things are happening this way. We should always ensure that the right thing is, because tomorrow it could be me, it could be doctor, it could be you. Yes, so let's ensure that due process is followed. Okay. If I've seen a letter suggesting that as far back as 31st of January, a letter was written by his lawyers notifying of, he's seeking treatment. So the question is, if the special prosecutor was aware of this letter and duly received this letter, why then would he come out to give out this press conference? If he was aware, then it suggests that maybe he's being pushed to do this. Let's not forget that people, I always say that the OSP in its current structure is not independent. He still is under the direction of the Attorney General. And the evidence of this is that he had 8 good years, or almost 8 years. No, not 8 years, sorry, but at least he had quite a lot of time, at least 4 years, to have brought up these charges against the former finance minister, because he left office for at least about a year before the ruling MPP government was voted out.
But he was still an official, because he was advisor to the senior advisor on
exactly,
something on the economy.
Yes, but no, he wasn't the finance minister. My point is that if he was truly independent, he should have been able to levy these charges whilst MP was still in government. But for it to happen now, and yes, I don't buy what he was saying, that he said what, it's a matter of luck or so that these charges are coming at this time.
Luckless.
Yes, but that's not the case. So that's one area also that needs to be looked at. And again, let's not, the MPDC, here's my word to the Attorney General. We've seen him, let me commend him also for giving out the press conference to explain his reasons for discontinuing some of the cases. I was one of those who kept, agitating that we need to know, even though some legal experts indicated that there wasn't really the need for that. But I'm very happy he has at least come out to clear there on some of the issues. We will look at that. Okay. But the point is that we don't want...
Remy, you have to take the wind out of your sails.
We don't want another case of political witch hunting.
Right.
Let's ensure that if people are really guilty, let's go through the rule of law, due process, and then uphold governance and justice in discharging some of these cases.
All right. Doc, we now know that, in fact, Ken Ofori-Atta may be undergoing some surgery, although Kizia Jabin mentioned that the medical records were also fake. What do you make of it?
I don't know how he validates a medical report to be able to tell it's fake. And it's not a medical report from just anywhere. It's from the Mayo Clinic. You can easily reach out to them. I think they are one of the best known medical establishments in the world. So you can just reach out to them.
So are you saying we can't fake medical reports?
You can't fake it.
You can't fake.
But from the Mayo Clinic, wow, I don't agree with that. And the way he's handled this whole thing leaves like a lot to be desired. Firstly, let me just make it clear. See, there's a lot of sentiment regarding the former finance minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. And so when discussing these issues, it's quite important to sort of remove him, put in any other Ghanaian official there and see if what is happening is right and does it abide by rule of law. See, I don't think if the charges come up and evidence comes up and anybody is found in the past administrations who have committed any acts of corruption, these people are not going to be shielded by the New Patriotic Party. We want to be emphatic that there was no grand scheme to loot. We were very committed to bettering the lives of the people of Ghana. We had a vision for progress and development of the country, and that's what we set out to do. But in any case, the president appoints a lot of people, and so from time to time, things happen.
But do you agree that it did happen?
No,
there was some looting.
I haven't seen evidence. That's what I'm saying. Now, that's the beauty sometimes of a change of government, because everything you did will be put under a microscope. So if you did anything wrong, best believe this is the time where it will come out. So as I said here, I don't have all we've heard are allegations, and we know heading into an election is one of the tactics that our good friends in the NDC like to employ, to call everybody a thief. So I don't pay any mind to that. Now that they have the power and they are going to review a lot of the things that happened, they can bring out the evidence. And if anybody has done wrong, we are not going to shield that person. Okay. Let me put that there. But when you look at the issue of the former finance minister, he had written to the former chief of staff that he was out of the country. When the new chief of staff assumed office, he was also informed that this man was out of the country. Then you invite him for questioning. His lawyers respond to you. Then you come out to make this press conference. I only have a few questions. First, what is he charged with? You haven't charged this man with anything. Basically, you are requesting his presence as a person of interest or a suspect. You now want to question him, essentially, isn't it? So how are you declaring him a fugitive and wanted in front of everybody? The BBC has picked up this news. What it seems like the OSP is setting out to do is to try Ken Ofori-Atta in the media, Because what you've done is to create the impression that, oh, you have a lot on him and he's going down. And
well,
you declared him a fugitive.
Right.
How? Based on which part of our...
But he did tell you why. He told you that he believed that the medical records or report was faked. He has no intention of returning to the jurisdiction.
The prosecutor.
He's also said, he said so many things.
How do you
that
know he has...
To him, hold on a second. He has done his own, maybe investigations, reached out to this man who is a person of interest in 7 high-profile cases, right? SML deal, all of that. And then they say, come and help us because we need clarity on everything. And then you say that, well, first of all, you're not in the country. You are not well enough to answer questions and all that. Does that not give the impression that you are avoiding that?
Did you see
I don't want to say interrogation,
the
but
letter
you're avoiding...
we can call it an interrogation because it's a criminal case. Did you see the letter by the lawyers of Ofori-Atta to the OSP? Yes. Where did he say that he was unavailable indefinitely? He said something like in March, I'm trying to find the letter, that he's going to avail himself. And the health status of Honorable Ofori-Atta is not a secret. It's something, you see, you were spreading rumors not too long ago that he's sick and people even said he was dying. So now, if he's actually giving you evidence that he's seeking treatment outside the country, how is that difficult to believe? How does that lead you to believe that he's running away indefinitely?
But if you're not in the country, does that prevent you from actually answering questions? As in, are there no other means by which he can provide the information you're looking for without ending it at, I'm not in the country, I'm not available?
That's not what he said. So through his lawyers, he responded by saying that they are ready to furnish the office of the OSP with any information they may require in his absence while he recuperates and gets back. That's what he said. And number 2, to call somebody a fugitive when you haven't charged them with anything is something that we don't expect the OSP, one of the high prosecutors in the country, to be doing, because it is not backed by any law. If you are charged by something, you are supposed to appear. There are actual charges, and you evade that appearance, you are a fugitive. If you are convicted of a crime and you evade your arrest, you are a fugitive. If you were a person of interest invited by a body and you have responded duly to these invitations, that I'm going to come. How are you a fugitive?
So let me hold you on. Let's pause for here, because we have Samuel Apiadaku, and he's the Director of Strategy, Research and Communications Division, and he's following the conversation. Apparently there's some new information or something he wants to bring to our attention. Sir, good morning and thank you for calling in.
Good morning, thank you. It's just a correction.
We can hear you, sir.
You can hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that it's because you've made some statements that are inaccurate, that are not true, by you yourself as a host, as well as your panelists. First of all, you said that the OSP or the special prosecutor during the press conference did say that Ken Ofori-Atta submitted a fake medical report. That is not true. It can never be true. The OSP never said that. What the OSP has said is that Mr. Ofori-Atta, who, by the way, people confuse suspect with a person of interest. Okay. Mr. Ofori-Atta is not a person of interest. In law and in investigation, a person of interest is somebody who just needed to provide information to assist with the investigation. A suspect is someone who there is sufficient basis to say that he's committed a crime and that he's wanted to be charged, as in what we call a charge caution statement and a few other things taken from you. So that should be the first thing. So I noticed a lot of people have been using the words interchangeably as a person of interest. No, Mr. Ofori-Atta is a suspect. A suspect meaning that the OSP has sufficient evidence and it wants to be able to go into taking your statement and charging you with what we call charge caution statement and all that. Also, Mr. Ofori-Atta...
So are you saying that Kisia Jabin did not say anywhere yesterday that the medical records that, Ken Ofori-Atta submitted, or the excuse that he was not available, were not, in fact, factual, that were not fake?
Yes. I'm saying that what you said is inaccurate. It's not factual. It's your own creation. or maybe your own understanding of what the SP said. What the SP has said is this, and I will explain it to you. Just a small time. I know that you have people who have to talk. When police invite you, I'm just using you as a test case. Let's say you are accused of stealing, and the police invite you that you are a suspect in an investigation involving theft, and that your presence is required. You are able to give some reasons. For instance, you tell the police that, okay, I'm in my hometown now, I'm not feeling well, I've come to see a herbal doctor, and so I'm not able to immediately come. But my lawyers are in Accra, and so I want my lawyers to come and answer it for you. First of all, in a criminal case, your lawyers have no role to play. The only role they have to play is to protect your rights. So your lawyers cannot answer for a charge of theft at the police station. It's you who have to answer. Then you go on, and then the police also say, okay, you said that you are treating yourself, and when you are done treating yourself in your village, you are going to return. When will you return? Then you say, okay, in my second correspondence to you, I have attached a letter by a doctor who is attending to me. So you have attached a letter. Remember, there's a difference between a medical report and a letter. People also confuse these things. You said that, oh, I have attached a letter from my doctor saying that he's attending to me and that when we are done, we'll come. This is how the situation is. And then OSP tells you, no, you cannot just attach a letter. You are either attaching a letter from a doctor that says that you are so sick that you cannot be moved, you cannot move or sit in a vehicle from your hometown back to Accra, or that the letter is giving you adequate timelines between today and tomorrow. You are going to do that. After tomorrow to here, I will do that. After this to this, I will do that.
Right.
So you are giving them enough basis for them to be able to give you opportunity to return. Or you are either suggesting to them that, okay, I'm so bedridden that I can't, because if you can come to where I am and take my statement or whatever, or I'm okay. Or that if you can do any other means by which I'll get there. So this is the point we are making, that you cannot just give law enforcement any lame excuse and think that because you think that you are treating yourself, the law enforcement people should wait for you. No, it doesn't happen in any jurisdiction.
Mr. Dako,
So
thank you so much.
Please, I have just one last, because another one that I need to correct is that they have said that, oh, he said he notified the chief of staff, the former and the present. How is notifying the chief of staff any bar against being investigated? That is why some people have said that, oh, the OSP should have stopped him when they knew he was traveling. No, the OSP cannot stop you. You are free to go in and out of the country anytime for any medical treatment. But when law enforcement needs your attendance, then you need to avail yourself. That is the whole idea. So the law enforcement agency cannot say, I've stopped you from going for medical treatment. You can go for medical treatment, but when the law enforcement needs your personal attendance, then you need to avail yourself. That's the whole idea. But people are confusing it as if there's something wrong with the law enforcement agency demanding the presence of a suspect to be charged. And then the last one, they said that, why are we declaring when you are fugitive because you are refusing to avail yourself. And law enforcement agencies will usually go for a warrant for your arrest. When there's a warrant for your arrest, they're going to declare you wanted. It's the same thing as saying that you are fugitive. Please, let's not try to mystify things and make things as if something untoward is being done. The OSP has absolutely done everything in the legal way. Imagine if Ofori-Atta had written to us through his lawyer to say, I will be available on April 4th.
All right.
After my process. Do you think that the OSP will come out and declare you wanted? They won't do that. It's because you failed to communicate exactly when you intend to be in this country, when you intend to avail yourself. And once you intend not to give us a definitive or even a region within which we can accommodate, then we have to take steps to bring you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Apiadako. That's Director of Strategy, Research and Communication Division of the OSP. And, well, thank him for all that. I do recall, and I'm quoting what, he said on the myjawline.com, the purported medical letter transmitted through his lawyers to the OSP does not establish or demonstrate that he's incapable of returning. The OSP remains unconvinced that the letter constitutes a valid medical report proving that Mr. Ofori-Atta is so ill or physically incapacitated that returning to Ghana would imperil his life. So that's where I was picking that from. But thank you, sir. Let's continue the conversation.
I wish I could ask him a lot of questions, but the last thing
just
he said
make it brief for us so we move on to other stories.
That the OSP is capable of going for a warrant. If that hasn't been done, then exactly, I'm asking you again, what basis are you standing on to declare him a fugitive? Because you haven't sought to arrest him. And I'm reading, let me just end here, the letter from Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers. I'm reading the second paragraph. Please find attached here the document indicating that our client is receiving medical attention at Mayo Clinic in the USA, detailing his appointments and timelines suggestive of a post-March date when our clients may be able to be in Ghana. So nowhere has he said, I am not coming or I'm not coming indefinitely. What it looks like from all we are hearing, from even what he called in to say, is some bad faith going on. You can easily negotiate with him. I don't think, and again, I'm not seeking to speak for Ken Ofori-Atta, but I don't see this, the information before us does not demonstrate that he's running away. It seems like you are trying to paint that picture this morning. And so that's where I'll land
there for me. Remy, let me give you a bite at this and then we move on to other stories quickly.
Yes. I think I've said much on this. Okay. Let's
move on.
We want to see, like I said, the key thing is that going forward, the conduct should be in accordance with the rule of law, so that no one will come and say tomorrow that there's a witch hunt. Already that's being put out there because of the way the whole approach has been taken. But so that it doesn't sully the whole investigation, doesn't sully the whole thing, and let's ensure that the investigation goes on properly.
Okay. So President orders probe into NSA ghost name scandal. Remember December last year, the Media Foundation for West Africa brought that expose.
I saw that.
President John Dramani Mahama has ordered the National Investigations Bureau to conduct immediate investigations into the operations of National Service Authority following the discovery of about 81,885 suspected ghost names on its payroll. Let me add some other stories so that we can do a comprehensive analysis. Report suspected cases of meningitis early to the hospital, the health minister is saying. Change must reflect in approach to work, Dr. Lee to GMA staff. And Ghana remains vulnerable to global shocks, according to the World Bank. The country remains highly vulnerable to global shocks due to the oil-driven economic growth and debt accumulation over the past decade, a new World Bank report on Ghana's public finance review has established. We're not out of the woods yet. That's what I'm gathering from that. But, Doc, quick reflections on all these, and then we move on to your paper.
Meningitis, it's been going on for a while. It's something that requires some more attention to be able to deal with. I mean, the last time I had to speak on something regarding this, I pointed out that sometimes there are mutations of the bacteria involved, and so it makes it a little difficult. But if the vaccination efforts was something that was widespread and everybody was getting vaccinated, scientifically we can hope that we would have reached herd immunity by now. So I'm hoping that the new Minister of Health takes a critical look at that, because there are solutions to that problem, so we should get that done. The NSS ghost name, something that came up, and well, very interesting. We are all waiting to see what the result of that investigation is. I would not want to jump the gun on that. What other thing did we?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. All right, and of course we already discussed the AGD banking dropping cases for political reasons, because he says the president is not involved in any way. He has reviewed the cases and he's dropping them. Remy, on meningitis, the NSA scandal.
Yeah, I'll take the NSA issue. They are not, the National Service Authority is not the only state entity that has had this kind of scandal in the past. It's been going on even before the Ecuador government. there's a fact that certain individuals are somehow able to take advantage of the systems and benefit from this. Even when the Controller and Accountant General brought in some checks and balances by having some verifications down occasion, yet still, this menace is still taking place.
Yeah.
So my challenge to this government is, yes, it's a good call to order an investigation, but we also want to see a wider implementation going forward to ensure that in 2 years down the line, we'll not be reading the same headlines.
Yeah.
Okay, not just with the National Service Authority, but with all of the government agencies. We are losing so many millions of cedis in these kind of scandals. And it's clear there's quite some syndicate that somehow seems to have some protection to be able to undertake these activities. It doesn't, you can't do this. It requires some kind of high level connivance to be able to do this and get away with this for such a period of time.
Right.
So we want to see much more systems and implementations put in place to ensure that we don't read these stories going forward, and then we cut down the wastages and losses. No. And let's see some prosecution for once. You understand? We don't want enough of the talk.
Is it a wonder to you why the OSP hasn't prosecuted even one case since he assumed office? But let's get into your papers now. Doc, let's start with you.
I wish we could have the whole time to actually discuss the OSP, but there are other things.
To move on.
Yeah. So this is the Observer.
Overseer?
Overseer, sorry.
Yeah.
Haruna Idrisu directs inclusion of ethics and patriotism in preschool curriculum. Hollister Gia finally hands over to James Ajeni Mboateng as SICMD. Finance Minister to present 2025 budgets. That's something we are all interested in seeing. The taxes. Mahama orders probe into NSS ghost names. Same thing. Ken Ofori-Atta declared wanted. It's going to be everywhere today.
That Hollister story was an interesting one. It trended for, I think, 3 days straight because the lady was refusing to, well, more like she wanted to compensate it, and she did get compensation, but she's finally handed over. So,
no choice.
So
trouble don't go.
Maybe she is severance she was looking for. I don't know. The person that appointed you has left. So what are you doing there? Anyway, so this one I saw in the middle, and I found how Grand Theft Auto is helping Nigerians survive rampant police abuse. Very interesting.
Grand Theft Auto.
The game.
Is helping Nigerians survive rampant police abuse.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Just maybe a little detail and then we can...
Yeah, so Sadiq Taiwo looks out of his 2-bedroom window in Lagos, watching the children below as they play Mbeka in the background. One of their favorite games is Police and Thief, where heroes chase down supposed criminals, mouthing pew pew as if to shoot down the wrongdoers.
Looks like a long read.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. Let's do the other paper. You have to.
OSP declares again, government cancels independence celebrations to save costs of 50 million cedis. Okay. President on working visit to Germany and Ethiopia. Maintain momentum on fiscal reforms to build resilient economy, World Bank. This is from the Ghanaian Times. ECG gets 9.7 million cedis to undertake projects in Western region.
Gets from where?
The Electricity Company of Ghana has received a budget approval of 9.7 million Ghana cedis to undertake new projects in 11 districts of the Western region. The project hopes to boost operations and ensure the system becomes more robust. So I think it's from their own budgets. Okay. Yeah. So Ghanaian Times is not giving us any other.
The stories are practically the same, huh?
Exactly.
Remy, what about you? What do you have?
Okay, so I have a very sensational run from the New Republic, splashed over their front page.
Yeah.
OSP draws dagger after former finance minister. And then Baumiers Haptel boys pockets 400 million booty. OSP chases MPA chiefs in 1.3 billion cedis scandal. MPA, GRA and 9 OMC cartel hot over marine gas smuggling scandal. Yeah, so in here, in the MENA pages, there's an attack on prominent Rotarians sparks outrage, and I think this is in relation to the someone shouting at Zanetto Rawlings, yes, about me. We know the remark, but And again, it's quite interesting. I'm surprised Parliament has not. You see, this is one of the situations where we say they are trying to cover for each other because, I mean,
should they not?
There would be.
Should they not cover for?
Let's say we are in Parliament and I shouted, okay, we know I'm the one.
Yeah.
You will know I'm the one. You understand? Yeah. Yes, and
so they know who said that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, but maybe if I had said this here, I would have been called tomorrow to face the Privileges Committee. But I think, like I said, I'm happy for Maya Mayerga's call that, yes, they need to do a lot more. Stephen Amoah also, I mean, yes, chipped in by saying that their own conduct in the past has given that sort of perception in the eyes of stakeholders and the public. And so I'm very happy. I think this parliament will be very interesting. I'm happy that Ghanaians are now, scrutinizing parliament a lot more. Ghanaians are now taking more focus on what is happening there. And they also need to take up the call to ensure that they put up a very good conduct. I'll take this story. I mean, this has to do with the ECD on the matter of the money.
Yes.
But generally about the audit that was done by Pricewaterhouse and some of the findings that have come up. For me, it's about operating about 99 bank accounts and under declaring about 5.3 billion cedis. It's important that I think ECG needs to be made autonomous. It's clear that a lot of these things are happening because of excessive political interference, and this happenings government after government. I still don't buy into the calls to privatize the sector. I've always maintained that if the private sector can come in and clean up ECG and make profit, which is exactly what will happen, I'm very sure that we have very competent people. It's about the structures around the operations. If it's not the president appointing, and if it's not the president appointing politicians to serve on the board, people who sometimes we don't even know about their competence. And it's a fact that people are put on boards ostensibly to sort of go and make money. Board members, their conduct flies against corporate governance practices where they get contract here and they understand. I think these are some of the ills of our public sector state-owned enterprises. Let's make ECG fully autonomous. Let's put in very competitive, competent board, a competent management team, and let's see if some of these stories will be written off.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all suffer for it. I mean, it's you and I who pay our bills. So ECG also, in order to generate power for distribute power, also has to find a way of operating. And you and I will bear the brunt of it. We have state enterprises that still owe millions of cedis.
Which is why others, I mean, some schools of thought would say that that's why privatization is important. Because if they are in charge of collecting revenue, you cannot say that, you don't have the money to pay.
Yes,
but because it's a government...
An autonomous entity can also go after them. If they know for a fact that my tenure does not depend on any government, any minister who can fire me at will, I'm sure they also can crack the whip on them. And then use the state agencies if they have to. Because then they are working based on some performance contracts. And so that would be a basis for them to also perform.
Well, we've tried it before, but let me take Doc's comments on this, ECG.
So I would always agree with some sort of privatization that maintains the kind of social nature of it, meaning that it's not too much for profit. So there's a bit of a subsidy in there so that we don't end up paying more. But I always believe that when you privatize most government agencies, you see increased levels of efficiency. The easiest way to do that is to go to a really good private hospital and go to a really good government hospital. The difference is clear and wide. And sometimes it's not just about changing the board or changing who appoints who is the CEO. It's the whole culture in the whole organization. People in government seem to believe that, you'll be paid and like the government owes you that responsibility to employ you. Yeah. So they don't really put in their best. But when you are working for a private person, there's that diligence and responsibility and discipline. So I think privatizing some aspects of ECG will definitely be the way to go. So then they have their own internal ways of doing things. Now, if you want to make it truly autonomous, still the decision of appointing people will have to fall on someone. So I would still stand for the privatization of at least the collection, because one of the plans of Dr. Bawumia during our campaign for ECG was to make sure that all state institutions are on prepaid meters. So there's no avenue for you to owe ECG. But you can imagine the headache for ECG trying to collect from various MMDAs, even to collect from parliaments. Last year, they tried to shut down the power in parliament, and that was an issue.
It was an interesting one when they were discussing energy and then
exactly. So if it's a private man and exactly we implement those plans where everybody, even parliament, is a prepaid meter. So if you don't buy, you don't have power. Then we'll begin to see more efficiency.
Okay. Is there a story there? Because I want to bring this to your attention. They've set up an 18-member mining sector review committee. And the government has set up an 18-member committee to review the licensing regime and processes within the country's mining sector and propose strategic approaches to safeguard the environment. And the multi-stakeholder committee is also expected to, quote, review operations of mining in forest reserves, identify best practices of mining operations, and propose approaches to halting mining in rivers. Already, we are seeing some work being done from the EPA, seizing some excavators here and there. And, you know, that statement, directive asking people to stop mining, and even the precedent directive to, I think, 3 or 4 ministries, Interior, Environment, and then there's, I think, Environment, there's Interior, and then there's Security, I think, to prosecute anyone found culpable mining in these places. But is this, how do you feel about this? A committee to review the mining sector? It's not great?
We're getting tired of the committees.
Exactly.
Oh.
We're getting to everything.
Yes.
Very soon there will be a committee to decide who goes to sit on TV. I mean, come on.
Oh.
So you had 8 years in opposition to be able to come up with cogent solutions. And every day committee.
But what's the work of the committee? Look.
They have to tell us what's
you know,
why you need an 18-member
this is what I think, right?
On an
you can't
issue
just
that
get
has
up
been raging. It was one of the pivotal issues during the campaign. You don't have a plan. I mean, it doesn't inspire confidence. Sorry.
So this is what I think. If you go to a new place and you intend to actually change things around, I don't think you just up and do, right? You try to put the best brains together to brainstorm, to find out who has the best ideas before you start implementing. So maybe this government's approach is to put together the best brains in each sector to understand what they really need to do, how they can actually meet Ghanaians at the point of our needs.
It looked like the committees were an act of trying to build consensus.
No, but you know, Galamsey is a very topical issue. It's affecting human life. And so if the president or this government decides that we should review how we mine,
one of the things you mentioned was to review mining in forest reserves. This is the discussion we've already had, and we've put the line under this conversation that we are not doing mining in the forest reserves.
We haven't yet revoked that LI.
Yes, we haven't revoked, but the ex-president ordered a halt on all mining in forest reserves. The issue now that they are refusing to tackle head-on is now there are people that are involved doing this. But there was recently information about one of the NDC MPs, involved in Galamsey. And when his chiefs came up, one of the things that I found very disturbing is that he was accusing the man of mining in the forest reserve. So if you want to do something about it to inspire confidence in us, you go after him first, not set up another 18-member committee to discuss what?
Wow, Remy, you agree?
Sweetie. Yes, I've also, one of the first actions I was expecting to see on this matter was steps towards revoking that law, allowing
the LI 246
in the forest. And again, we know for a fact that we've had Operation Vanguard, we've had so many kinds of operations. There were several operations before that. We've tried the military, we've tried the police, we've tried several task force involving the district assemblies and what have you, and still they failed to curb the menace of them.
Is that not a reason why you should put together some sort of think tank to understand why we keep failing at this fight?
We know, sweetie, we know why we keep failing. We keep failing because of complicity. There are always higher ups who are very much involved. I mean, yes, sometimes people will not want to speak out the facts openly, but there were talks of some of the security personnel, and that's one being compromised when they go in there. It's the reason sometimes the military high command has to withdraw the people they send in there. We need, a proper holistic action on this. People are mining on river bodies. our security agencies have failed to act. In the very districts where these are happening, we have the district there are regional coordinating authorities who somehow, for one reason or another, fail to act. The question is why? Okay, the EPA and then the Minerals Commission that gives out the licenses, for example, they have also come out. I've read some of the statements from them that they don't have the capacity to actually enforce the license. So, for example, if they say go and mine in this area, and there are reports that the people are actually, instead of prospecting, are actually mining, or they've even taken on extra land than they should, they're not able to go out there and actually enforce that, look, we gave you this area, or you're supposed to prospect. And that's the fact. People are mining with prospecting licenses. So the whole regime really needs to be looked at.
I want to come back to the same point. Yes. You said the whole regime needs to be looked at. And if I a composition, the people or the agencies who have representation on this committee, they are the exact people that we need.
Yes, that's, you see, I understand my sister, and yes, you see.
Hold on. Let me list the number of people on that committee, right? Not all of them. Some institutions that have representation. So we have the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General. We have the Forestry Commission, the Lands Commission, the Minerals Commission, the Water Resources Commission, the EPA, the Chief of Defense, the Ghana Police, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, and the National House of Chiefs.
Sweetie, these are the
which is important because these are the people who are directly involved. If you have lands, they are the custodians of the lands, right? So again, is this not a way to be sure that for the first time, whatever solution they propose, it actually works? Is that not what a committee would be doing?
Well, we had the Interministerial Mining Committee before during the government of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, headed by what was his name? Professor Pimpon Boateng, and there was a composition of.
So what does this mean? Do you think that hope is lost?
No, I don't.
In a quest to actually rid this country of.
Yes, I don't think it's lost. But like I said, we are failing to crack the whip. This country, we specialize in dancing around the issues.
That's true.
Okay, and then using all these we're using committees to just mask the issues. We know who the corporates are. I'm sure if you go to any of the Wase Kropong, any of these, the last time I used that route was somewhere in 2021, and it was just terrible. I've not been there since. But if what I saw 3 years ago, and I know mining has still been going on, I mean, such a very large scale, as far as my eye could see from the road, the main road, there was just deforestation on both sides of the road. If you go to the communities and you ask them who is mining, they will tell you. And you see, we often go and blame the ordinary Ghanaians who are being employed so that they can get some. We need to go after the financiers. Remember the Chinese ambassador is on record to have said that no Chinese comes in and knows where the gold is. Yeah. It's our very own people who lead them to the place. The chiefs also are key stakeholders. The chiefs also, you can't go and mine a community without the knowledge or the authority of the chief. You understand? So, well, it's been set up. It looks like this is going to be the route that's going to be used. But for me, like I'm saying, we need to see much more than this. Let's see them cracking their whip. Let's see a proper plan that will be implemented. And
so you're just tired of the committees, huh?
Yeah, because I expected to see some more action by now.
Right. Let's talk about corruption, right? We know that the GII, Ghana Integrity Initiative, released that corruption perception index, and we're not doing well. We moved from 34 to 32. Now, Mariada is saying we should pass the Conduct of Public Officers Bill. That is the COPO bill to fight corruption. The Ghana Integrity Initiative has called on the government to prioritize the passage of the Conduct of Public Officers and Internal Audit Agency Bill. And these bills were crucial in strengthening the legal framework. It goes on and talks about how it can be a way to deal with corruption-related matters on unexplained wealth. In fact, I have a problem with how we declare assets. Our politicians declare assets. So you just list whatever it is, seal it in an envelope, and then put it down until something requires that they open it. In most cases, nobody even actually checks, and so there's some controversy somewhere. We need to review that because it's just not enough. What if the person just lists something, in fact, not factual, just because you have to list and submit, and so they submit it and then it ends there. But On this topic of corruption and how we are not actually doing well, what is your take on the matter?
So I think the matter of corruption is almost endemic in this country. It's not, people like to look at it like it's only those that are in the government ruling at a particular time that are involved in corruption. It comes all the way down. You go to the hospital, you are meeting corruption. Some banks, you are meeting, like it's endemic.
Yeah.
So it requires some, like a cultural shift. Ghanaians as a people have to decide that we can do things by the book without, you know, if you are going to get something, you can probably just get it done without having to put some money under the table for the person. That cultural shift needs to happen, or everything else, as we are saying, would just be, as he said, dancing around the topic.
Is it a case of what our leaders are doing that's trickling down to the grassroots level?
I believe it's the opposite. The parliament or our leaders, or it's just a microcosm of the big society. Yeah. So it's like a representation of the big society. So if society at large is largely corrupt, I mean, you can't expect that the people that are put into positions of power are not part of society.
Chicken and egg situation.
Yeah, so it's the culture. We all have to decide that, oh, we are going to do things differently. I'm hoping as young people, we make that bold move to do things differently and just do the right thing. I'm hoping that we lead that charge for that.
Okay. Remy?
Yes, I think the call should start from our leadership. People are watching. I always say this. People are always watching. And if I can get into office and people see that someone is elected into office, someone we're all living with, get some ministerial appointment, get some state engineering appointment, and in a matter of months, under a year, the person all of a sudden owes so much property. Government needs to walk the talk. We need to, for all these appointees, we don't even know how many of them have actually fulfilled the requirements to declare their assets.
They were given some timeline.
Yes, but I mean, some of these things should be public. I was reading yesterday about the president of Liberia suspending salaries of some ministers who have not yet declared. That's some action. But again, like you opened up and started earlier, that we need to actually make this properly, very transparent. Public service is voluntary. Here, we are made to feel that they are doing us a favor, unlike the other way around. So if you want to serve, nobody is forcing you. Nobody holds a gun to your head that come and become a minister or be an MP. But we need to uphold the laws, declare assets voluntarily. Since they will not even do voluntarily, it should be compulsory. And it should be open. We all need to know that, okay, when Sweetie was coming in as a Minister for Women and Children Affairs, she had this, she had that, she had that. When she was leaving, maybe she had doubled her property. And then she should be able to explain to us how come. Maybe she has some private business on the side. She's doing that, ensure that. And then it's all transparent and we understand. That then will inspire confidence in the people we are leading. So that when they also get into some lower position, they also will not be thinking that, okay, this man got in there, got so much money. Because this is what is actually happening.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think that's about it. Gender politics, society in Ghana. This is an editorial. Pick one for yourself. CPP LPG condemned disturbances at Council of State election. And Defense Minister pledges to tackle accommodation for military. Engineers on water crisis, engineers tasked to innovate for solutions. A professor of environmental science at the University of Cape Coast, Professor David Kofi Esuman, has tasked engineers to develop innovative solutions for water treatment to address Ghana's escalating water crisis. And initiatives to attract commercial agriculture in Ofing for Ahafu farmers. And that will be it for the Daily Graphic. Any other stories? Otherwise, I'll get your final thoughts for us and we will pop off. Doc, do you have any other interesting story there? I see some waste management, the page before that. What is it? Yeah.
Government to demonopolize sector for efficiency.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Government on Monday gave a hint of plans to demonopolize the waste management sector to improve collection and recycling. Ibrahim Matala Mohammed, Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, who gave the hint, said, I have stated that we need to demonopolize if we like waste management in this country. That is not to target other existing waste management companies.
Right.
We need to demonopolize the sector to the extent that we will engage local authorities at the local governance level.
In fact, we had him here on Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday, and he said the same thing, that first he's going to conduct an audit and then he's going to try and monopolize, because looks like we've trusted one person to handle the waste situation in the country, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
there's filth everywhere.
Competition is always good.
Anyway, final comments, please. We have to go.
Yes.
Remy, let me start with you.
Okay, so maybe I'll just it will be on the waste issue. That's yes. I agree with this call that the job should be given to the municipal assemblies. They are on the ground. They have a very powerful and efficient structure. The filth we are seeing is because there's not much efficiency in the process. We saw another contract that appears the company, one key company is supposed to even pre-finance, but there was a time last year where it emerged that there was arrears, was up to about 9 months or so. The workers hadn't been paid. This, of course, affect their motivation. Some are going to drop out. They may not even work as much as they should. And the more worrying aspect is the fact that the ministry, the government doesn't appear to even know exactly how many people they are paying for. Okay, so it's a good call. Let's give this job back to the assembly so that at least we can create jobs within the municipalities, and then they can properly supervise the work.
You know what I find interesting? It's not a policy or any law that we should just give one man the contract to deal with our waste or to take care of waste management in the country. And we've had this problem persistently for years. Why do we still keep renewing, or what is it that we cannot take this away from Zoom Lion and say, let's try and give that person the opportunity to... Yeah, because every time we talk about filth or waste management, you hear Zoom Lion, but the work is not getting done. So why do we keep doing it? Doc, your take on this matter. Your government kept this man, kept the contract to this man for years.
You know, he has worked with the previous NDC government. He has worked with everybody. I mean, it's possible that when he came up, he was the only one with the capacity to do it. But obviously now the
work is not getting done.
That is not true anymore. So I do agree with his take that we should decentralize it. Let the assemblies take care of it. Let the MMDCs handle it locally so that it can be more efficient.
Well, I just hope that we're able to actually do this, because I remember the former president saying by the end of his tenure, Accra will be the cleanest city. And here we are. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. Okay, let's do some quick headlines before we go. Former Bangladesh governments behind possible crimes against humanity. And President Jubilee House to host 68th Independence Anniversary. Former Minister of Finance wanted. These are just some headlines. Buying time because we have a surprise for you. 15,750 people graduate from University of Ghana. And it's a good time to announce to you that we have a third guest joining us. The newly appointed CEO of Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications joins us in studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you feeling this morning?
I'm terrific.
Anyway, this is all for you. So I want to put 3 issues to you for your quick reflections, and then we pop off. First, the issue about the former finance minister being declared wanted, a fugitive of justice. I know parliamentarians had a go at it yesterday because some are of the school of thought that we shouldn't be displaying such, attitude towards former office holders or government officials. But Majority Leader was also saying that if we do that, how do we hold leaders accountable? And then, of course, let's start from there. What did you make of that issue?
Very well. Let me apologize for the late coming because of some emergencies I had to attend to. And then say good morning to your cherished viewers and the good people of Bimbila constituency. They are my people from northern region. You see, this man should have been arrested long since. You see, he should have been arrested long since. You see, Ghana...
For what, Doc?
Look, the ills this man perpetrated on the good people. Do you know the number of people who died because of his actions and inactions? Look at how he punished our old men and old ladies. For the first time, have you ever seen our grannies demonstrating in Ghana? Have you ever seen that? But we had the benefit of seeing the 70s and 80s. We've never seen this kind of attitude. Grannies who have worked tirelessly for the country, built the country, this man has forced them to go on demonstration, to go and perch at the finance ministry, just because he has removed their head to the extent that even the Sakura cry, he was even trying to remove the skin.
You know, they haven't actually charged him with anything. He's just a person of interest.
But he's a fugitive.
He says suspect. OSP.
The man is a fugitive. His own party people. You remember in Parliament, the last Parliament, the 8th Parliament, a good number of them, MPP parliamentarians, signed that they should remove him. It wasn't NDC, it was their own party people. They knew of the damage he was causing to the good people of this country. I am saying that the man should have been arrested long since. Well, it's better late than never. Now he's being chased all over the place. Even if he's on his sick bed, they should bring him. They had a tendency of bringing people in ambulance to come and vote for them in Parliament. These people. So why can't you bring somebody on ambulance to come and face justice? So nobody should come and be speaking holier than thou. This is not the time. This is the time to reset the country. He must be brought into the country. So they should extend it to Interpol to look for him.
Doc, is this only happening because there's a new administration and you're resetting the country? Because the OSP could have, declared him a fugitive of justice, a suspect in all these 7 cases long ago. Why is it only coming up now?
You remember what the OSP told Ghanaians in his last press conference? These people were not interested in fighting corruption. They were interested in fighting propaganda. They will come out and make noise about things that they were going to do. Meanwhile, they were not interested in it. You have just seen what they have packed Ghana cities in some 12 containers all over this country. This group. I know these people. I know their behavior. You see, you know how they were.
When you say these people, you're referring to the
NPP. We don't agree. If you don't have evidence that the money was paid there by the NPP,
we are saying that
stay away
this
from that
is an administration which has a penchant of doing propaganda. MPP.
Says you?
MPP. That's why Ghanaians voted against you. You saw how you have terribly lost. And I'm saying that what we are doing as of now, wherever the man is, whether in ambulance, sick bed, they should bring him.
Well, we know that he may be undergoing surgery, so maybe it will take some time.
They can't. We have hospitals. Look, whether or not people saying they are building Agenda 111, why should we run away from the country to go for it? How many hospitals did they build? They were drinking propaganda every day.
47.
That's what they are doing. They say 40 what?
47.
So you did 47. This country, I'm not surprised you got 38.
We'll talk about
it.
They said 40 what? This lady, are you coming from Jupiter or F? You know we are in Ghana.
Okay,
it's on F. And you are talking of 40 what? I'm not surprised you got 38.2.
The gazetted result.
What 38.2?
Dr. Computer, hold on a second.
Yes.
Are you saying there are 40 what?
47 hospitals.
47
for the first time, they have
Agenda 111
hospitals. Not Agenda 111.
What?
Non-Agenda 111 hospitals. 30 district hospitals, 17 polyclinics. Okay. But they like to sing the song, you've not built any... Like how do you think you can exist now for 8 years? Then another propaganda, 38%. We all know it's not true.
Dear, I'm telling you that. The truth of the matter is that you people, if you had built 47 hospitals, you are talking. Ghanaians, look, the propaganda and the news, I'm sure you would have bought Joy New Prime.
The pictures are there. I will show you.
Okay, Dr. Computer, we do have to go, but let me put this issue to you for your reflection. So the AG has debunked dropping the cases for political reasons. You know, he cleared 7 people who had ongoing cases and he filed a nolle prosequi saying that yesterday he held a press conference and he says it wasn't the president directive. He had actually thoroughly reviewed all these cases and in good conscience he cannot continue to try these cases. But it appears the explanation he gave was just not enough for some people. How do you reflect on this?
Nolle prosequi is legal. It's embedded in our statutes. That's one thing we must understand. This is not the first time Attorney General is filing nolle prosequi on cases of matters of this. Look, these were just political, concocted, craft issues just to cow those people and just to make political capital out of it. What was the issues? Completely non-existent. If you have cases, 8 years, you are running for some people, 8 years, You couldn't even prosecute one of the cases.
Not all of them are
8 damn good years. Now, this group of people, MPP, knowing who they were when they were in power, and knowing what they were doing at the court, you know, they had this, how do they call them? The 9 players who were always scoring goals for them. Because they themselves, they had their conscience to protect.
How do you reconcile, say? How do you, in one breath, say that the Attorney General can do what he did? It's not a crime. We have oral and all those cases that, suspected cases that will have to be tried. And then you say that the former Minister of Justice should have been arrested long ago. And wherever he is, whether he's in an ambulance, he should be brought to face justice. And then Ghanaians are saying, but you have the same thing happening, just that you have a different narrative to it. You are clearing these people because you say in good conscience you don't have evidence or you don't have anything really to stick. And then you are saying that you haven't, don't forget that he hasn't been charged. Ofori-Atta has not been charged. He's just a suspect in all these 7 cases. How do you reconcile that? In one breath, you're fighting corruption, you are prosecuting those, you are trying to arrest those who you think are culpable. In another breath, you're clearing some other people. How do you reconcile? Let him answer that and I'll come to you. How do you reconcile that?
You see, you cannot compare oranges with apples. You can't say they are the same. They are never the same.
Are they not cases of national interest that involve money?
Look, these are issues. Look, the learned Attorney General, he heard what he said yesterday. He will send a matter to court for prosecution before he now go and be looking for evidence. This was what Dami was doing. Dami will quickly bundle you into court and now start looking for evidence to come and prosecute you. Is that how you do? Even the lower primary school, me, I'm a LLB student. We don't do this. These are the things they teach. You don't go to court when you don't have evidence. Then this man will sit down there, the whole Attorney General will bundle somebody before the judges and now say, I want to go and look for evidence and come. And question people to come and speak against people who have been prosecuted. Well, these are the issues we are talking about. And he said it. This man is a legal luminary. He knows what he's talking about. And he said it. I will not send somebody to court without evidence. I will make sure that before I'm sending you to court, I have prepared enough docket. I have enough evidence to prosecute you. So that I'll make sure that I'll get prosecution. But this man, why they couldn't get prosecution is that for 8 years, they didn't have evidence whatever they were doing. They were just trying to cow them to submit to their whims and caprice.
Dr. Tanko, I've just been told that the extended news review has to end now. So thank you so much for coming, but we have to go.
We are coming after them one after another. We look this at the beginning.
You realize it's not military takeover.
Those who joined the conversation this morning, Dr. Ikia Amwako, a member of the Communications Directorate. We also had Remy Edmondson, National Secretary of the PPP, and who just joined us, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, CEO, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications. Doc, congratulations. So the politics is not over, right?
Well, governance has started. I mean, we want to make sure that Ghanaians benefit from their labor. Everybody has his due.
Right.
With what we did. I mean, they did a yeoman's job by giving us 57 point something. I mean, we are grateful that they've consigned these people to 38%. Let them be there. I mean, we want peace of mind. That's why they've...
All right, thank you. So, please stay. Sports comes up next.
Time to bring you the latest from the world of sports. I'm Haruna Mubarak. Now, Ghana Premier League clubs will not be allowed to host home matches at their venues if they fail to appoint a club safety and security officer, according to the Ghana Football Association. This decision is part of newly enhanced matchday safety and security protocols for football competitions in the country. Clubs could face a fine of 20,000 Ghana cedis for failing to adhere to the new protocols. My colleague Razak Musbao has more.
According to the Ghana Football Association, the Inspector General Police has agreed to establish regional sports officers who serve as the primary contact for sports events. These officers will be tasked with overseeing all aspects of sports policing within their respective regions. The clubs have also been tasked to ensure that the required number of safety and security personnel are provided for each category of matches. Significantly, these safety personnel are to be in their located positions in and around the stadium at least 4 hours before kickoff and expected to be extra vigilant until end of the match day. Also, clubs shall ensure collaboration with their supporters group and develop code of conduct to guide and to invoke the punishment and banning of recalcitrant supporters. Again, each club shall liaise with their stadium facility owners to install CCTV cameras at their facility to enhance the operation of safety and security at matches. Moreover, the teams are to ensure fans of both sides are properly stationed with little proximity to each other to reduce exchanges of any kind in and around the stadium. Also, there shall be a prohibition for the sales and distribution of beverages and drinks in cans and glass bottles at match venues. These drinks can only be dispensed in paper or open plastic cups which cannot be used dangerously. This is followed by the complete ban on hawking in the stadium stands. According to the association, these protocols will be applied strictly and the sanctions, which ranges from hefty fines, permanent stadium bans and suspension of officials, shall be enforced to the letter to ensure safety and security at the match venues for all stakeholders.
Now, Minister of Sports and Recreation Kofi Adams has acknowledged the ministry's challenges in securing funds to carry out its functions. However, he remains committed to establishing a sports fund through various avenues to enable the ministry to fully fulfill its role.
Right, the sports funding has been a challenge. If you ask any sports minister from past, and maybe even to my very good self today, what is one big challenge that confronts the industry? I'll tell you, funding. And so the issue of sports fund is something that have run through, and it cannot continue to be a problem that must be running through.
Oh, no, but before you continue, is it that we don't, what have you identified from where, I mean, from observing from the background? Because I mean, like you said, I mean, these parties have been in power. Your party has been in power before. The MPP have gotten the opportunity before. What is it? Is it that there's no interest by you, the legislators, who are given the opportunity on the select committee? What exactly is the problem?
Well, I don't know whether it is the no interest or whatever, but whatever it is a problem that we must find solution to. And so the promise by the NDC this time around to establish a sports fund must be worked on. Whether it is going to be through a sports lottery, whether it's going to be taking percentages of some taxes that already exist. Like, for example, people have proposed that there are some taxes on sports betting activities that is generally emanating from sports. And so a percentage of the tax that the state gets from sports betting should go into the fund to support sports, because the more the sports grow, the bigger the tax component that also comes to the state. So if the component of the tax that comes to the state can be placed into a fund to help in growing what will feed the state more, why not? That's one option that has been looked at. And of course, I've mentioned a sports lottery, which will be run such that all the proceeds that comes, that one goes direct into the sports fund. You mentioned earlier when I talked about getting something, a percentage from the GET fund, of course. This is because school sports is very critical and it's now part of sports. The new act creates for the establishment of School Sports Development Agency. So that will become a new agency that the sports ministry will be running.
Now, Sports Minister Kofi Adams may not have to worry much because the Black Stars, who consume a large portion of the ministry's funds, will not participate in the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations. The competition, scheduled for December in Morocco, is 10 months away. Now, some journalists have expressed disappointment at Ghana's absence from the competition, the first time since 2004. Nathaniel Atto has more.
come December 2025, Morocco will be under the spotlight because every country around the world will be watching the Africa Cup of Nations from here. Well, the sad thing is that Ghana will not be participating in this continental football showpiece. I've been speaking to some colleagues of mine from across the continent, and they've got views about this disappointment.
After the World Cup 2022, many people that don't know much about our country discover Morocco by the performance, the historical performance of the Atlas Lions. By hosting this event, we increase a little more, step further, our soft power. And I'm very, very sad because Ghana, who won 4 Afcon, 63, 65, 78, and 82, won't be here. The country of many great, talented, gifted footballers, like the brothers Ayo, it's a shame for Ghanaian football, for Ghanaian Football Federation not to qualify for a competition with 24 countries from 54. You know, when you have the possibility to be in a group of 4 nations and you see Ghana, you won't consider that Ghana won't be here. You start with the thinking that Ghana would qualify, especially that 2 years ago, Ghana was one of 5 African countries participating in the World Cup in Qatar.
Top-ranking nation in football keep dropping and dropping out to the point where they can't be able to, grab a qualification ticket for such a tournament that they usually used to have it at the swing of a finger. It's really going to be a tournament with a little miss out on salt, I want to put it that way. But it's life, it's football. You can never tell what the fate will be. Ghana usually used to give us that spark in football. I remember when we were still young in Cameroon, usually you want to, when they talk of the Black Stars, you want to be in front of the TV to watch how they go about their matches. It was either Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa for Cameroonians, and also Egypt. So it's a good point for those who will be competing for the fact that Ghana won't be in the game. We will have less competitors, but as an African, we want to be cordial with each other. It's going to be a little bit sour without Ghana, but game-wise, we are happy. The challenges are reducing in number.
Well, it is very obvious that Ghanaian fans in Ghana and around the world would have to watch this on television. They may come here and cheer other teams to victory or otherwise. But the reality is there. We've heard the thoughts from across the continent, and Ghana would have to sit back. But clearly the lessons have been learned, and this should definitely not happen again to a nation as great as Ghana in football and its folklore in the African continent. Nathaniel Atta in the heart of Rabat.
Now, recall that at the beginning of this year, fire razed so many structures at Kantamanto and reduced livelihoods to ashes. We want to take you there and understand the fate of some 8,000 traders because it continues to hang in the balance. Despite some 2.8 million cedis relief funds secured, we know that the former Vice President Dr. Mamudu Bawumia and presidential candidate Cheda all made some contributions. The question we're asking, where is the Kantamanto market? Sarah Mensah brings you that feature.
It's been over a month since fire ravaged Kantamanto market. Over 30,000 traders were affected. The fire devoured more than 7,000 shops, reducing livelihoods to ashes. Today, hope remains elusive as the traders await the promised relief.
We haven't received anything. I haven't received any donation. So don't tell me that I have received money. I haven't received any donation.
Donation by 1 cedi. My sister 15 million because almost could you know a patent no so pentam because I was here for some year pescano. It's your quiet director been a cheers can my because ye be minister I've lost 1.6 billion.
Auntie Maggie has been here for over 15 years, selling in the heart of the market. Her voice shakes as she recalls the disaster.
They said they are coming to donate something for us. We have learned, we have seen that they have come to donate something. We have not received anything. We have not received anything. They collected 10 million from me before they gave me this stake and the ceiling. The rest of the things like you are saying, we have to do it ourselves. I don't have anything. The best thing I think the leaders should do is when they come, we have lost our things, they should let us sit in our sheds so that they divide the money to us. But the way things are going, it is very pathetic. We are suffering.
Desperation runs deep. Many traders like Maggie have borrowed money to rebuild. But outside the market, those without sheds face an even grimmer reality. Holy Ghost, who sells just outside the market, feels she's being left out of the recovery efforts. Some traders have already begun rebuilding on their own. Despite the lack of aid, they claim discrimination and they feel abandoned. But the leadership insists they're doing everything they can. Michael Obeng, chairman of the largest trader group and member of the 9-member committee overseeing relief, believes progress is being made.
Workmanship. Carpenter for Sika Omudi at the born chance in New York. Me, I'm not going to 150 Ghana cedis. Ladies will be a 150 Ghana cedis. And it cost 3,000 Ghana cedis for Libya and to Adama Carpenter Forum. A new beer Jessica. There must a penny movie, not a penny be. I just cow baby.
Over 2.8 million cedis in donations have been received by the committee. But for the thousands who lost everything, hope is running thin.
By the close of the month in India, let me say a year joining in a year. Now, the chess can a crop by inu. I have here to one. A ma mason for I estimate at the Maya. Number of bros I beg you so. Number of cement I beg you so. The year winning in a year, the betcha. Say you a crop part, so on penny 10 billion, which is 1 million Ghana cedis in the year. The betcha. At the Amo be then the Bacano. A cat, the amount for the betcha chayano. I had a year Jumano, as you wear your bonus for conta. Now that can be asono. Ya chair at the amount and 24 points will be up and coto and the footum, if you are in footum, never be a camera.
As the traders wait for relief, they continue to rebuild piece by piece with borrowed money and fading patience. As time drags on, the fire's scars remain, not just on the market's walls, but on the lives of those struggling to rebuild. Sarah Mentor's report, read to you.
Welcome back to the AM show. Let's get talking. And on Friday, Joy News will be having a very important discussion concerning the future of the Joy Prime is having a very important discussion about the future of Free Senior High School. I mean, where do we go from where we are now? And so you are invited to be part of this very all-important discussion. But let's try and preempt what exactly we are to expect in this discussion. And we've been joined by Hajia Wedad Saibu. She's Director of School for Life. Hajia, I'm grateful to you for joining us. So what are the pointers that we should be expecting in tomorrow's discussion? Hajia, kindly unmute so we can hear what you're telling us. So Hajia Saibu is Director School for Life, and we're going to talk about the Free Senior High School policy, because tomorrow Joy Prime is having that all-important discussion. Hajia, grateful for joining us. What pointers must we be looking out for in tomorrow's discussion? And kindly unmute so we can hear what you're telling us. Okay. It looks like Hajia is trying to unmute so we can follow what she's telling us. But look, we are empaneling several people in the education sector to help us digest the Free Senior High School policy, look at the teething challenges in the policy, and what needs to be done to ensure that the policy is in the right way or in terms of implementation, to ensure that we drive all the benefit that we should. We've all come to realize that there are some challenges, but as it goes with all policies, when you are implementing the policy, you get to understand what needs to be done to try and fine-tune it. So it is the solution we're going to be looking for tomorrow on this particular discussion being, hosted by Joy Prime. And I guess that, Hajia, let me try and see if I can hear you. We're trying to find out from you what people are to expect in tomorrow's disco. Okay. All right. Technology has its own, downturns. We'll try and rectify the situation so we can have this discussion about the Free Senior High School. But you know that the NPP government implemented the Free Senior High School policy as a major policy by the government, because prior to their coming into power in 2017, it was one of the main campaign promises of the NPP. In fact, the then flag bearer, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had mooted this particular policy way back in 2008 when he first became the flag bearer of the party. He said it was a better way to invest in the country, because investing in your human resource was the surest way to ensure that the country is developed. So he put up this policy. But as it was implemented, we know that over 3 million students benefited from it. But in the course of implementation, we discovered several challenges that need to be worked on. So tomorrow, we're asking, what is the next chapter of Free Senior High School? Reform, improve, sustain. At 10 a.m. on Joy Prime, tomorrow 14th, 2025, we're having this discussion. And so we want to really understand what viewers should look out for. Hajia Wedad Saibu is Director for School for Life, and we're trying to connect with her to understand what we should all expect. But look, the Free Senior High School has benefited a lot of people. There are some people without the Free Senior High School could not have made it to the senior high schools. So a great policy, but as it is all with all policies, challenges do come when you are implementing it, because there's a difference between paperwork and moving it from paper or the drawing board onto the ground. So as you implement and you find challenges, you should then see how you can overcome those challenges. And that's why we're having this particular discussion tomorrow. But look, as I even wait to connect, let me remind you that we will also be having an important discussion concerning the OSP take on the former finance minister. Now, the OSP has declared the former finance minister a fugitive. he cited several reasons why he's come to that particular conclusion. We'll be discussing that particular subject, as well as the Attorney General's reasons for discontinuing some cases that he came to inherit. Well, let me get back to Haja Wedad Saibu and have this discussion with her. Haja, grateful. We want to talk about the Free Senior High School because tomorrow everyone is expecting to get to hear the solutions that will be preferred on that particular platform. What should we be expecting, Haja? Okay, all right. So looks like technology is really not being our friend today. So let's move on and come into studio and have these discussions concerning the OSP and the Attorney General, all of them being in the news in one day. And I saw someone write on Facebook, wow, this was not how we intended the day to be. Look, we have in studio with us Al-Hassan Soyini. He is, okay, so I'll tell you his designation. I mean, he's been nominated for deputy ministerial position. So I'll tell you much more about it later when we come back. And then also we have with us a former deputy minister for finance. He's also with us here. But let me go back to Haja Wedad. I'm told that her line is back now. Haja, grateful that you joined us here. I want to just find out from you what we should expect tomorrow.
Good morning.
Great.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this show. In fact, tomorrow I think that we'll be having some impactful discussion on how to mobilize national consensus around the issue of free senior high education. And particularly, we'll be looking and exploring ways by which we can actually also ensure sustainable financing of the senior high education. There has been debate about whether or not the free senior high model is sustainable or not, and how impactful it is. And there's no denying fact that the free senior high program is relevant and everybody buy into it. What has been in question is about how sustainable is the current approach that have been adopted, and how nationally, how do we have, or what kind of buy-in in terms of a national kind of consensus regarding the program and its implementation. So essentially, we are exploring and bringing to bear the experts within the field of education to explore ways by which we can garner some kind of national support, national consensus about the sustainability of the free senior high school. How do we ensure the sustainable financing of the model? How do we ensure that everybody is on board of this noble program? So essentially, that is about the essence of the program tomorrow. And we are really excited that we are partnering with multimedia to have this national dialogue, to have this discourse in a way that will garner national support for the program.
Okay, Haja, I'm grateful to you, and we'll be expecting to have you tomorrow and to see all the solutions that we'll be, suggesting to government and to the state. Thank you so much for joining. Haja Wedad Saibu is Director School for Life. This is still the AM show, like I told you earlier. We have a big convo with two great gentlemen of this country. Stephen Amwa is MP for Nshaya, so a former Deputy Minister for Finance. He's here in studio with us. We also have Al-Hassan Soyini, Tamale North MP, and has been nominated for Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. When we come, we'll do the intro. We'll get them into the studio, introduce them to you, and then we can have this conversation. Stay with us here on the AM Show. Welcome back from that break. Now, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, now a fugitive over an inquest by the special prosecutor into 5 cases. He is believed to be a suspect, generating controversy and deepening the already polarized political atmosphere, with the minority in Parliament outraged at the military raid of his residence in his absence. But the majority insist Ken Ofori-Atta must come and pass the accountability test. There's other related issues to digest this morning here on the show. And in studio already, as I've said, Al-Hassan Souyini is Member of Parliament for Tamale North, is Deputy Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good?
I'm terrific, thank you. Hope you're well too.
I'm well.
Thank you, thank you.
We also have Dr. Stephen Amwa, popularly known as Stika. He's Member of Parliament for Nshayaso and a former Deputy Finance Minister, a former Deputy Trade Minister, right? Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Now, so there are a lot of areas we're looking at, but let's start with the OSP's take on the former Finance Minister. He left before Stika was there, but again, he worked in the same government, so he probably knows him. But, Doc, is the OSP wrong to ask the Finance Minister to make himself available, even though he tells the OSP he's not well?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this very morning. Prior to the program, I was saying that these are serious legal issues, and I'm not a lawyer anyway. So probably the dimension that I'll pick might not really serve a legal purpose. I mean, because your question is very good. I'll do my best, so you should bear with me. I'm speaking as a layman when it comes to the legal issues. As I'm here, I cannot say he's wrong or right. If we actually consider him from a legal perspective. But what I can say is that for him to declare him fugitive is where I think, as a layman, I find it very difficult to understand whether indeed he even has that jurisdiction. You know, in law, they call something ultra virus, whether it's within his jurisdiction to embark on all that he's doing as you're asking. And then my layman of understanding of fugitive is somebody who is escaping, or who has escaped from captivity or something. Exactly. And I wonder if Ofori-Atta is in captivity. I wonder. And I think we all have to be careful as a country. I'm trying to even work on myself because as we are moving forward, Ghana cannot continue recycling some of these unfortunate incidents of what is happening. Now, as a result of some of these efforts or actions or omissions or inactions, some people, including army officers, went to his residence. I mean, illegally. They went there, somebody's private home. If you read our constitution, Article 18.2, I mean, it states emphatically that no one shall be subjected to the interference of his private home and properties. So if in that act, initially they said it was OSP. Now they say he's not the one.
Yes.
Whether that is true or not is a subject to be also discussed another time. But this is the second time.
CCTV footages of the people who went there.
But we are not saying that OSP went there. We are talking about people making allegations that it was the ASP that actually gave them the mandate or induced them to go there. He's saying no, he's not the one. Whether that is true or not, his comment and his position and what is happening, it will be difficult for people to say that is not true or true. But even that is not true, sometimes some of these things give people the undue opportunity to embark on some of these antisocial behaviors. And me, as a finance or a financial economist, my problem is that how is this featuring our country on the globe or even on the continent of Africa? Because honestly, globalization, one of the key things that all investors look at for democracy and security. And if these things are going on, don't you think we are compromising our sovereignty in terms of security?
Why don't you think the international bodies or the international world will also see it as a country which is trying to ensure that it fights corruption?
Corruption in this way? Fight corruption in this way? You think this is how we fight corruption? that somebody, whether has mandate or not, went to another person's home with army people to go whatever they wanted to go and do. Nobody has an idea. And that is how we fight corruption. When the Constitution, clearly states how these things should be managed. I quoted Article 18(2)(a). It's so clear. It states without any ambiguity. Am I right or wrong? So what they did, is it not breaching the very constitutional extract or provisions that I'm talking about? So these are the things we need to look at. I think this thing has been going back and forth when there's change of government, except that I think this time it is unprecedented because you talk about AG, what happened, a lot of people died, and even it is on record that the present speaker stated in Parliament that this is unprecedented. My issue is, whether it happened before or not, we need to manage these things well going forward.
Right.
Because we are a country. We are being coached or managed or protected by laws, creation of law. We have our sovereignty. This is a democratic dispensation. So if we keep on entertaining some of these, look at Ashanti Regis just a few days ago, Council of State election, what happened? Is this what we want to see in our country? Want to move on, whether it is from NDC or MPP. I want to repent. I want to change. I can make mistakes, but I don't think I want to go to those former way of attacking everything, condemning everything, praising everything because of my underlying interest. We've been doing this for almost 30 years. NDC does, MPP does. Have we gotten the expected results? No. Do we maintain the same status quo? No. We need to redefine. We need to define our corporate focus as a country. We need to introduce new paradigm shift and make sure that I wouldn't call my brother because he's a deputy minister, you're a thief, you are this. Even when courts of competent jurisdiction has not even come out any declaration or judgment. We need to build country. People respect us.
Right.
Because of our
let me
reputation.
come in here at this point. You deputized this man who's now been declared a fugitive of justice.
I didn't.
He
left before.
Right. But you were in the ministry, of finance.
For just a few months.
Yes. Do you see the wisdom behind what the OSP is doing in trying to bring finality to these cases? We're talking about the SML deal, we're talking about National Cathedral, and Ken Ofori-Atta was at the helm of all the controversies and the issues. There was a point where even members of parliament wanted him to be removed from office, and the president didn't do that. Do you see the wisdom in what the OSP is doing? Regardless of the, we'll get incisive with the raid and the arguments pouring in from parliament and all that, but do you see the necessity of what the OSP is doing, trying to bring finality to these issues?
Before then, let me correct you. Not everybody in parliament wanted Ken Ofori-Atta out.
No, I didn't say that.
No, you said members, and then
some,
two.
Right.
Okay, fine. And two, their reason was not based on what you're saying. But more importantly, I think the OSP has a legal mandate, per our laws, to embark on what he's doing.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with he inviting him if the legal mandate actually calls for that.
Right.
To probably conduct an investigation or interrogation to find out whether indeed something of that nature had happened and that the legal stipulates or frameworks of the land should deal with that situation. I don't have any problem.
Okay.
But I'm coming. But the political tone, what is coming around it, the image that is creating for our country is what I'm talking about. Who is not interested in we fighting corruption? And then the name calling. Yesterday I made a very emphatic statement in Parliament. NDC MPP, we do that. Sometimes we don't do that because we really, really mean it. But the public, how are they taking it? How do even citizens of Ghana see we politicians, whether NDC, let's be honest, the conversations in town.
Okay.
So we need to manage these things. We need to be careful how we conduct and monitor the critical activity part of some of these
Right, so your point of contention is the approach,
not
the intention behind everything we're seeing right now.
How would you know?
Fighting corruption.
Nobody knows any other person's intention.
Right, okay.
But I don't think, in my opinion, apart from he also coming out there, he's a fugitive and all those things, when he had been informed, we all know that Ken Ofori-Atta hadn't been well. Let's be very honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
So sometimes, even the ethical values of your outfit is very important.
Right.
Some of these comments.
Okay.
This is all that we are talking about.
Let's give the
I'll let Alassane come in. But Doc, the OSP says, we understand that you're not well. But can you give us a definite period? You can come in, answer questions, and go back. Is that a difficult ask?
But I'm not saying that it's difficult. So they wrote to him. Did he respond or he did not?
His lawyers
You know,
responded.
some of these things, we call something asymmetric information. Sometimes we here, me, I don't know you, are not privy to certain vital pieces of underlying information. I hope you understand. So it makes it very difficult to really, honestly, sincerely make emphatic statements on some of these because there are so many presumptions which may be rebuttable. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Get you.
But all that I'm praying for is that the OSP and any other factor must do this in good faith. It is extremely important. I think in law they say they call something as a one is a malafide or whatever, something being done in bad faith, and the other one in good faith.
Do you sense bad?
I hope you understand. See, they have something like whether it's a Latin, I don't know.
But do you sense bad faith?
If I say that, I will be very dishonest. I can't say it is or it is not. As I said, I'm trying to really do my best as much as I can to redefine the way I do my things now. If I say it's bad faith, I will be very insincere. If I say it is not, I also, because I don't know, but the way he's going about things and the comments and then the attacks on him and his private homes and properties, which are not actually in line with the constitution of this land. This is what I am talking about. And I also call for further investigation and interrogation and those who perpetrated these dysfunctional and socially unacceptable behaviors. Because it's today that is Ofori-Atta. Tomorrow it may be my brother here or myself or you. So we need to make sure that as a country, we create a platform that will give every Tom, Dick, and Harry, it doesn't matter your position along the social stratification, the right to enjoy equality as enshrined in Article 17 of our Constitution. This is what I'm calling for.
Okay, all right. Honorable.
Yes, right. Good morning to you, good morning to Sweden, and good morning to my colleague, Dr. Sticker, and to our viewers, especially the very good people of the Tamale North constituency. This is an important conversation to have because as people who are into governance and key players in democracy, it is not oblivious to us that our democracy is under threat, and it's under threat because so many people who are not key players in it are beginning to question how well the democracy is serving them. And these questions are motivated in most cases by what they consider to be acts of corruption and malfeasance by people who are privileged to be key players in the governance architecture. And that is why it is important for us to have conversations such as the one that the OSP raised yesterday. It is how we deal with such issues that will engender the confidence needed to keep our democracy alive and to engender the support that it needs to stay alive. And as it is often said, the worst form of democracy is always better than the best form of dictatorship. But you cannot continue repeating that if you are not making efforts to let people see the best form of democracy. And one of the best ways we can do that is to throw the light on issues of corruption. And when we do that, it is not to say that the people who are involved are necessarily corrupt. It is to put all of us at ease as to what exactly went on. In the case of the National Cathedral, it is very difficult now to convince anybody in this country and anywhere in the world that some malfeasance didn't take place. It's very difficult. Now, it is important to investigate it and find out if indeed malfeasance took place, and if it did, who was responsible and who could have stopped it and didn't, and who benefited from it. And take necessary steps to exact some punishment which will, in the long run, engender confidence in the general public that indeed our governance system is working in our interest. So we cannot discount conversations around the need to investigate that matter. And it will be unfair on the part of, say, somebody like Ken Ofori-Atta, if this matter is not even investigated, and the fact is that he is not responsible, because the general view out there is that he had a key role to play in whatever transpired as far as the cathedral is concerned. So for supporters of Ken Ofori-Atta, and even for himself, it must be of interest to them that this matter is looked into thoroughly, if they believe that they did everything above board and it is unfair for anybody to hold them responsible. So it is important that we have these conversations. Now, that is why I like the question you asked initially. In having these conversations, tangential issues are bound to be introduced. But we must make the conscious effort not to allow those to take the center stage, but to encourage the right steps to be taken, so that at the end of the day, the institution of the OSP, the country Ghana, the citizens themselves feel better served. And so I was very happy that yesterday the OSP spoke and, gave the indication as to the efforts he has made so far to reach out to Ken Ofori-Atta and the frustrations. And you cannot blame him. Because you see...
But Alison,
yes.
I mean, looking at where we are in a technological world, right?
Right.
If the man says, I am not well, assuming it is true, can't we use any technological means to elicit these answers that we want from him, wherever he is?
So that is why this conversation is important. Because when this conversation started yesterday, we were shown letters that Ken Ofori-Atta even sent to the Chief of Staff. Letters that may not have been available to the OSP. And so you cannot blame the OSP if he thinks otherwise. Again, the information the OSP has is what he will work with. And if based on what his lawyers, Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers came to tell him, he was not satisfied, he had every right to feel frustrated and to express same, like he did yesterday. And if the lawyers offered that, we are yet to know. If they offered the solution that you are suggesting, we are yet to know. If they offered that, look, our client is unable to come as you insist, but he's ready to avail himself through any technological platform. We don't know if the lawyers made that offer.
Well, I didn't see that.
Yes, and if the OSP turned it down, we don't know. But if they didn't make that offer, you cannot blame the OSP for the way he reacted. So I think that it is important that we put these tangential issues aside and focus on the most important issue of accountability, of transparency, of getting to the bottom of all these cases that we are all convinced in our minds, had some, semblance of malfeasance and corruption. It is important that we bring closure to these issues. As for the political talk, I think that it will not stop when these issues come up, because corruption in itself, especially relating to the work of the OSP, is a politically related matter. And so you will have people go back and forth as to what happened in the past, what is happening now. But I was very uncomfortable when it was revealed that the OSP was not behind the
raid.
I was trying to get a better word instead of raid, because raid connotes something more drastic and draconian. But I was very uncomfortable with that exercise, however you describe it, especially when the OSP indicated that he was not behind it. And again, you can forgive him to think that this was an attempt to make him look bad and to interrupt or to mess up with the investigation that he was carrying out.
Can you really forgive him when he says it is a staged thing, or one that is intended to sort of an imposter action.
So my view,
when he does not have the
facts. My view, Brace, is that he perhaps was hasty. On that note, in his conclusion, he was hasty, but I can't blame him because I do not know what other things may have happened, based on the interactions he has had with Ken Ofori-Atta and his lawyers. You see, sometimes the interaction you have with somebody, their responses and the way they react to your, engagement can make you rush into conclusions when other things are happening, and you may be forgiven to think that it is part of what they may have already been saying to you or doing to you. So I'm unable to condemn him, but just to say that based on more information that we have received, perhaps it was hasty for him to have concluded that this was staged by Ken Ofori-Atta just to interrupt with his investigations. It was a hasty, conclusion to have arrived at. I am not comfortable that this other but you see, that's the problem with the state. It's so big and it's like an octopus. And so you can only know what you are responsible for and in charge of. But other agencies may also be playing other roles that are related to what you are doing. And so sometimes it is important to sit back and be sure that those roles that other agencies are playing are not intended to sabotage yours, but perhaps to complement yours.
Talking about sabotaging, and I like that you said the crux of the matter should not, be forgotten, that we are just trying to bring some finality to these corruption-related cases. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor, in fact, they haven't made any prosecution, not even one yet. So I guess that's why those who oppose what's happening right now will say, why now? Why do you think that is a political witch hunt or just a vendetta against the former finance minister? Given the opportunity, how do you then explain or convince people that the timing is just a luckless coincidence, like you said yesterday, and not just because a new administration is in office, they're using this as an opportunity to witch hunt?
Well, I don't think it would be fair to say that no prosecutions have taken place, since the office of the OSP. Because you recall, I mean, his popular, my tree is very bad, Ankwanuma song, you recall. And it was as a result of frustrations that he had faced, when he engaged in some prosecutions in the courts. So this is not the first time that he's actually engaging in prosecuting any government official. There have been many other prosecutions in the past. And this may be the first since the new government took over. But it's just one of many that he has already engaged in. And we are hoping that, the frustrations that he faced in the past, he will not face same now. And that is why I don't want us to dwell too much on the tangentials. That will take away the essence of what the OSP is supposed to do. Because when we concentrate on the tangentials, we may just end up throwing the baby away with the bath.
But that was what the arguments that were pouring in Parliament yesterday were about, the tangentials. One party saying that, come and protect ourselves because we are politicians, we are, government officials. The other party saying that, well, if we are protecting ourselves, how do we hold leaders accountable?
Absolutely.
And that's a very important conversation for the Ghanaian, because we are watching all this unfold and it's taxpayers' money is involved. So really, how do you reconcile both arguments?
You see, that's why I said earlier that when it comes to the political arguments, you cannot take it away from corruption-related cases, especially when politicians are involved in it. And yesterday, I was very uncomfortable when I monitored the discussion that took place in Parliament. I was engaged elsewhere with other equally important issues, but I kept my ear to the ground and I was monitoring what was happening. And I was very, very happy, first of all, when the majority leader cautioned that this matter was so important and it did not have to be introduced onto the floor of Parliament, because the floor of Parliament is a political floor. And so you are not going to have, a conversation there that will be devoid of political sentiments.
Not a national floor?
It is a national floor to discuss political issues and to discuss so in a partisan manner. And so you need to understand that, yes, the national interests in some cases, are tainted by partisan colors. Because you see, the way I look at an issue as a national interest will be based on my ideology. Center left, center right, it's always shaped by that. And so it was important that, you know, it was not discussed, especially at the time, you know, that the investigators were doing their work. Again, I was very, very excited when, at the end of the conversation, the majority leader again raised a very important matter, because when I was listening to the conversation, I got uncomfortable. I, for a moment, you know, took myself out of the political position that I occupy. And then I asked myself how I will view the sentiments that were expressed. And I thought that the majority leader was right. It was beginning to sound like we are a political class, let's connive and collude and protect ourselves, because we will always fall foul of the law.
Already
and
that
we will
narrative,
always be, you know, and we will, and one of us will always be in authority. I felt very uncomfortable with that kind of mindset, and I thought that it was not doing justice to the need to preserve and protect and promote our democracy. So I was happy when the majority leader made that point, that we should not be portraying ourselves that way, and that, look, we should allow the state institutions at every point in time to hold everyone, you know, accountable, especially those of us who are a part of the political class, because that is the only way that we can engender confidence in the people to continue to support the democracy that we have all come to embrace.
Doc, let me bring you in here. Now, from where Al-Hassan left off, we need to take out politics out of this whole conversation. How do we deal with this particular matter to ensure that we are getting the desired results in the interest of the nation, Ghana?
Thank you very much. One thing I want all of us to do, you know, most of the times when I speak, I bring in God. It's not because I'm holy. I'm not holy. But I'm one person that I believe that anything that you are saying, anything that you are doing, when you are left alone with God, whether honestly, Ghana is first, but not your political party or yourself. That is where the problem is. It's not what we say here. I'm not referring to my honorable member, but as a country. When he was talking, he said that, oh, if you look at the cathedral issue, he even drew his own conclusion that nobody will say that if we are ABCD hadn't happened. I'm not challenging him. I'm not saying something happened or something did not happen. But we are guided by laws and rules. There are situations in Ghana here that people were, look, what didn't we say about my own brother, Dr. Atuforsen? And what happened? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. And that is why the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, has made it clear that somebody cannot be guilty until it is proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. So sometimes let us all be very careful about this. Is my point. If we really want to do without politics, then we need to go by the stipulates of the law. Two.
But I will let you go there. Okay. But on the case of the National Cathedral, how can you justify the expenditure?
I'm not. I'm not justifying.
No, I know you're not justifying, but I'm saying based on his points and your point as well. I mean, we were made to understand that it wasn't a state-funded project, and that the state was going to only provide a foundation, sort of support for the project. But we ended up spending the taxpayers' monies on this project. Isn't it then right for someone to question that, why did you do this when we were made to understand that we were not going to spend our money on the project?
Boss, I'm not talking against the questioning of the project. If you heard me right, anybody has a right as per what you're talking about. But for you to draw inferences, infer that per all those pieces of information, this has happened, it's not in line with our law. That's what I want to say. Because even here, God forbid, if you even stab me here and I die and the cameras are here, one cannot conclude that you're a murderer. That is what the law says. Unless we don't want to go by our legal stipulate. Let us be honest and get this thing clear. Because tomorrow is somebody. The next day, it could be that Ofori-Atta will be taken through all the legal thing and the NDC. And he even win the case. Okay. So you call him guilty. I'm not saying that what he did was right or wrong. I cannot say that. And the one thing we also need to look at is, now they have the faces of those who did that. are there faces that anybody on this earth could say that it was stage managed by Ofori-Atta? Because some of them are publicly known. I hope you understand. It's not good to ethically mention names here. Yeah. We are not here to do that because of safety and security of other people and their reputations. And then one aspect, the fact that we don't have to say we are a political class. We don't have to, we are not, because of that, we shouldn't protect people who are committing crimes or whose acts are illegal or whatever. I agree with you 100%. But if that is the case, then we have to be at peace, because I love that. But a situation where if MPP is in government, the picture about all NDC guys and these situations are seen from different angles. And the insult in Parliament on the floor, the kind of words some of my colleagues from majority side used, as if Ofori-Atta hadn't done any iota of good in this country. So it made me even move to the fact that 2016, we're growing 3.6. Our industry about 2.7. Go and check our services and others. Our inflation was about 15.4. Basically, about 100,000 young ones were staying home because they could not afford free SHS. When Ofori-Atta took over this country, for the first 3 years, the figures, GDP was running to 7% averagely for 3 years. Inflation had come to 7.5%. You saw how things were going. Poor people had opportunity, whether you criticize the challenges or not. Because the challenges we are talking about free SHS. I went to secondary school 40 years ago. They were all there. I mean, we're having vacation classes. Aki is alive. Ola is dead. You can call Aki, whether he was not teaching me at home. Even me that my father was illiterate. Our food was not good. People were calling some of the food gas. Even when you pass exams to go to secondary school, they will tell you because of difficulties and challenges, you have to be a day student because there were no beds. I am not saying because of that we don't look at today. But it looks like when we are in government and opposition, the very thing that we criticize, they are the same things we are confronted with. So I'm saying that let us take a new position. That you use words that are unprinted or unprintable. Words that will make people out there. But for the what's his name?
OSP.
Doing his work, of course. I agree with my brother. These corruption things, we need to. But somebody also said that, then how come that first week or second week of appointing a respectable attorney general, then almost everything that has got something to do with somebody who is in the majority's domain is cleared. I'm not saying they've done something wrong, they should be jailed. No, I can't say that. I don't have any information. But somebody will ask, just within 1 week, not even 2-3 months, that probably investigation have been conducted by your good self and outfit to show that, because we are clearing. So what we are saying is that then right after, you set up ORA. That will cost us money, time, resource, energy. That will push into the public domain, political connotation, eyes. Maybe they are even doing it for the good of all of us.
ORA didn't
look, talking about...
They said they were not taking anything, we're not spending...
No, costing us money doesn't necessarily mean the state. Those who are doing it, Honorable Okujetu has been given a very huge mandate. Time, resource. Me, I'm a finance person, I'm an investment person. So even qualitative issues are translated into monetary issues. Maybe some of the times you'd have been at the ministry conducting statement. This one is also stating, you use that time, you can raise. I'm talking about that detailed work as an actuarial science person.
But they did the work.
I'm coming.
So
they didn't spend anything?
No,
let us not dwell on. Let us not dwell on. In fact, the important aspect is that you clear people within 1 week and you set up another body to investigate for the same purposes.
But ORA was set up prior to the appointment of the AG.
So was that what?
ORA was set up prior to the appointment of the AG.
But we set that up and then we clear others. Why then didn't you wait for even the same ORA to take up those who were clearing to come out with their findings and say that, because of this, we have to clear them?
But these ones were cases that were prosecuted in court already.
And then, so based on the court findings, they cleared them. Is that what you want to say?
Okay, so let me give you the reasoning that...
It looks like for me, you don't even let me talk. You are doing one-on-one with me.
No, let me give you the reasoning that the AG has given. The AG says, example, for... he gave ethical and professional concerns. He could not, in good conscience, continue...
ethical and professional concerns?
Yes.
And what were the backing laws?
He says, particularly Republic versus Kesela to Forsen and Republic versus Ofori-Atta. As he had previously been involved as counsel. He maintained his view that these cases were politically motivated. To the defective charges and lack of merit. Some charges, such as those in Republic versus Collins Dowda, lacked clarity and failed to account for key financial transactions, making them legally unsound. So he gave reasons for his actions.
And let me just add this one. You said that it is important. Doc, hold on a second. It's important to highlight the fact that in most of the cases in which I have terminated proceedings, the conduct of some of the individual judges left much to be desired.
Which of them?
Well, he...
So which of them?
He spoke about. So he spoke at
and what have you
giving
seen?
You more
by
to
you
consider.
Yourself, he is NDC appointee. They are in government. He is saying this to listen. Don't get me. Most of them are my friends. I've met me at Forson's case. I was on Joy here, condemning it. I don't do. Maybe the way people see, I'm different. I don't do politics that strong. I mean that extreme position where if it's white, I would say it's black because of MPP. Yeah. God knows my heart. But what I'm saying is that all the reasons he's giving here, then he's telling our judicial system is kaput now. If this is what you want to say.
Actually, so I've got it.
I'm coming. So if you're in government, your people's cases do not have merit. No. But if you're not in government, this is what we are doing to ourselves.
But that's not what he's saying, Doc.
Boss, I'm not saying what he is saying.
That's an
but that is a picture
you're making. But
that is a picture. Go out there, ask people, ask Ghanaians. No. But when you are not, please.
That's okay. That's okay.
Doc, please make
no, usually I'm dealing with three people.
Please make
Allow me to make my point.
Please make your point.
So God will judge all of us. God will judge all of us. If this is what we want for Ghana, let's move on. Because NDC will not stay in opposition, in government, in perpetuity. We will not. I am not concluding respectfully that those my NDC brothers are guilty. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they are wrong or right. I can't say that. That would be very unfair on my part. But the speed and the alacrity, the readiness, the swiftness with which they have cleared the case, let's all ask God with our conscience whether it is right or wrong. The behaviors of some of the judges. So why didn't you change the judges? I'm not a lawyer, but don't they change judges? Don't they change judges? Please, don't let us support some of these things because it's about Ghana. Look, I was asked on Metro whether for present President Mahama, His Excellency, is doing well or not. Initially, or heeded whatever English you want to use, I would have said, oh, he's done nothing. Oh, he's done, no. But I told them, I don't want to go by those ways again. I will not. Before I will condemn something, in my mind, in my conscience, with the facts I have, I should make sense. Other people can take on, that's not my business. I said that 1 month, how can I judge the president within 1 month? It will be uncalled for. It wouldn't be right. I can't say he's doing well or he's not doing well. The only thing I have against this government, not he as a president, but this government, is the way they're attacking even private properties. Bloodshed, burning schools. Go to Kunsu area in Ashanti region. They are burning public schools. I'll give you the pictures. Go and check. Apart from that, you can't judge if he hasn't finished with his appointment. I mean, in any setting, it will take him about 3 months to really settle and move on with his things.
I don't want to budge in, but I have to get you to clarify this. You said government, and you mentioned burning of schools. Is it government that is doing that?
No, I'm saying that public properties and private properties, they are in government. And if these things are happening in Ghana, and most of them, we all know, you can lie to yourself or God, they are NDC boys. Just as probably MPP, I remember that one national whatever coordinator in Ashanti region, you saw the guys went there and got him out of office. But what I'm saying is that apart from these things that I have issues with, because it's tarnishing the reputation of our country and it's scaring investors, you cannot sit here and appraise the president within 1 month. What I'm drumming home is that let us all change. Because even if Ofori-Atta has done something bad or good, on the floor, people were using words that are not even good for the younger generation, the youth, to even witness and see. Because what are we talking? That is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let's pause here for a second. Mr. Sweeney, yes. So dive in on the conversation of these, the controversy surrounding Attorney General clearing some of these cases. You've heard what he said. Yesterday, Minority also held a press conference. They're asking that all legal prosecutions be stopped for fair play and all that. So what really? What's on your mind?
Maybe before I look at that, I'll just want to assure my brother that perhaps on the matter of the National Cathedral, we are saying the same thing, but he didn't listen to me well. What I said was that as things stand now, it will be very difficult to convince anybody in this country and the world over that nothing untoward happened with regard to our quest to put up a national cathedral. I didn't blame anybody. But it's going to be difficult to tell anyone that no malfeasance happened. That you agree with me. It's difficult. I'm not saying Ken Ofori-Atta was responsible. I'm not saying Nanado was responsible. But as things stand now, as if you listen to all the stories, look at the amount spent and the work done, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to tell anyone that no malfeasance happened. So on that note, it is important, and that's the point I was making. On that note, it is important that investigations are, conducted into it to establish the nature of malfeasance, who was responsible, and who benefited. Okay. I didn't say somebody was responsible. So that's what I'm saying. We are saying the same things, but perhaps you didn't listen to me well. But we are saying the same thing.
No, you were drawing conclusions.
No, I didn't. That's right. You did not listen.
And I think I agree.
I said that it is, and I said it was even important for Ken Ofori-Atta and his supporters and he himself for an investigation to be done to establish whether he was involved or not. So you should listen. That's the point that I was making. Then on the economy, nobody can also again say that Ken Ofori-Atta didn't do well. I mean, even a clock that is wrong, I mean, that is faulty, is correct twice in a day. I mean, a clock that is not working at all, it is correct twice in a day. So no one can say Ken Ofori-Atta didn't do anything for Ghana. But, I mean, let us be fair to ourselves. As far back as 2016, the EIU and others had predicted that based on the work done by the government of the day, that was in 2016, the economy was going to grow by about 8 to 9% in the
Was this in 2016?
Yes, 2016. It was predicted. It was predicted by the EIU and many other economists. So you see, for me, I've always likened what happened. You see, I had these disagreements. I had these disagreements, but I listened to you. So please, let's proceed with a decent conversation. So I'm saying that I've always likened these so-called growth, between 2017, 2018, 2019 to inheritance. Somebody goes to the farm during the rainy season, he does so much work, till the land, farm maize and, granules and others. And unfortunately, when it is time for harvesting, he passes away. So and then his child takes over. And then harvests so much home, full, fill rooms with maize bags and, granules. And he's boasting that, look, the harvest, this year's farming has yielded so much, only to return to the farm the following year and bring back less bags. Another year, brings back less bags. And by the fourth year, he brings back nothing but debts. And that is exactly what happened to us in the case of Ken Ofori-Atta. He may have done some things right, but when you are talking about these economic growths, be mindful that these predictions were done in 2016 due to the work done. The harvest came in, and then he took it home and ate kenke and fish with it. Partied with it. But by the time his work, the results of his true work, was to show, we all saw.
Please, would it be disingenuous
we all saw
if the NPP takes credit for whatever growth we see in this year and next year because they have tilled the land, planted the seeds, and everything.
I've always said that some of the problems we have in this country is that when we are having national conversations, we don't differentiate between similar and the same. Things that are similar are not the same. Yes, NDC may have taken over. If the context of the growth, I'm telling you that the predictions by the EIU, and you can Google and read it, was that we had done some work in the oil sector, in the other. So you need to contextualize it. If there's growth next year, if there's growth by the end of the year, what is the cause of that growth? Is it as a result of work that was done by Nanado? I will not challenge it if you relate it that way. But context is very important. And I'm not really here to take credit from the MPP government if there's growth next year. And the growth is directly attributed to the work that they did in 2024. And on free SHS, I think that, and I'm coming to Dominic Ayene's press conference yesterday. I'm coming there. On the free SHS, look, there was just one difference between the NDC and the MPP. From 2016, it has been so. In fact, from 2012, it's been so. The only difference has been that let's do this progressively because as we do it, then we can solve the challenges. The fact that he doesn't like what I'm saying doesn't mean I should move on. It doesn't mean I should move on. But you see, yes, I'm saying with you. I'm saying with you. I'm saying with you. I'm saying with you.
The point is like if we sway in,
no, but he brought it up, and I just thought that I should clarify it. Yeah, he did. He brought it up, and I just thought I should clarify that. Look, there's never really been any difference. As a member of the NDC, I feel very vindicated. Because you see, all the problems that we predicted, for which we did not want to rush the implementation, have come to pass.
Such as?
The congestions, the lack of proper, meals for the students, the quality that has gone down, they have all come. And it was the reason why the NDC didn't think that rushing it was a good idea. And so for me as a member of the NDC, I feel very vindicated. And that is why it's important for us to have this national conversation, to see how we can, proceed with the program. Because like President Mahama said, there's no rolling back. There's no need for us to go back. But we need to confront the challenges as they have, come to haunt us all. Now, I don't think that my brother has taken his time to listen to the Attorney General or even to read, his presentation yesterday. And he maybe in Parliament he may have interacted with Honorable Dominic Ayine. He's a man of integrity. I mean, he's one person that you can be rest assured that he will not play politics with legal issues, because he's always said that first and foremost, he was a lawyer before he became a politician, a distinguished lawyer at that. And there is no way he's going to compromise his legal integrity and the image he has, created for himself over the years, just for political reasons. And so I was very excited listening to him yesterday. And later, I took my time to read his presentation. And he said, look, even though the theory is that the Attorney General does not have to explain reasons why he files a nolle prosequi, he disagrees, because as Attorney General, his only client is the people of Ghana. And that as a lawyer, when you are going to advise your client to discontinue with a trial, you are required to explain to your client why you should discontinue. And if his only client is the people of Ghana, then he thinks that it is a responsibility for him to explain to the people.
But is that
of Ghana.
not reactive? Because he had cleared these people, reactions were pouring in about explanation, details before he held that press conference.
But you see, in the past, people file nolle prosequi. Attorney Generals file nolle prosequi. People, reacted the same way.
I get it.
They didn't bother. I'm getting there.
Would it have helped if the Attorney General had allowed these matters, because of how long they have traveled, to allow the court to have their say, come to a conclusion, whether they will be acquitted or not? Then the state, all of us...
Again, listen to him. That's why I'm saying that the man is a man of integrity. He's not pretentious. He doesn't want to pretend about it. So he tells you, for example, that I was a lawyer.
Counsel.
I was counsel to this person.
Yeah.
These were the arguments I proffered. And those arguments were grounded in law. And I cannot go against those arguments today, but simply because I'm appointed AG.
He should allow his deputy AG to do it.
No, he disagreed with his deputy AG then when he was counsel to the people. And the deputy AG can only go to court on his say-so. So he cannot pretend about it. He doesn't want to pretend. So he's being very candid with the people of Ghana. He's saying that, look, I think that these were trump-up charges, these were political charges. I had evidence to back it, and he cited some of the reasons. I mean, for example, in the
Atuforson's the ambulance
he
case.
talked about the mistrial that he thought that the judge should have even ruled on, because clearly we all saw how the former AG interfered with the witness. And legal jurisprudence, any lawyer will tell you that that was a classical reason for a mistrial to have taken place, but it didn't. So, and he still feels strongly that it was a needless case. Then he talked about, you know, how some of the evidence for the other trials didn't add up.
Okay.
You know, and he for example, and look, it's commonsensical. He says that you charge a man of a 200 million Ghana loss to the state. That the man caused 200 million Ghana cedis loss. But in your evidence, you present Sagleme housing, which was built by part of the 200 million. You also have evidence that other ministers paid about $5 million and not him. So in his view, and in the view of the law, and when you are doing criminal cases, the person, the accused, must always know his exact crime so that he can prepare his defense. So if you are charging him of $200 million loss, and yet in your own case, part of the 200 million is there, not as a loss, and even if it is a loss, not attributed to him, like the $5 million. How do you sustain that charge? So he says, let us look at how we can perhaps invest. And that's why he was also careful to say, look, I discontinued some of the cases. I filed nolle prosequi, but I did not, you know, acquit and discharge some of them.
So
because you see,
any future AG can
more,
take
and then better evidence can even make he himself go back to court.
All right, that is fine.
Final bites on this, because we have 2 more issues and our time is very limited. So, Doc.
But I think the way you allow him to speak before he can allow me to.
Who allow you to
just beg.
Were they not interjecting?
In the first place,
interjecting.
In the first place, I think for the economy of Ghana, give it a whole 2 hours for MPP and know, if you like, call each other. Because the deceptions are too much. As I'm talking to you now, GDP, which sums up everything, just before we handed over, and even now, our GDP is growing about as twice as 2016. With the exception of inflation, which is about in its 20s, and we inherited 15.4 their time. And let me tell you, this post-COVID issue because people think they can deceive Ghanaians. When in the history of this country, where public service workers asked to stay home, but they were paid. That the world was even growing negative 3.3. We grew 0.4. We had revenue shortfalls of about 12 billion in this country. We really suffered, the whole world. And yet people don't want to consider the fact that the situation was very uncontrollable globally and nationally. But because of politics, we want to go on talking about SHS.
But in that period, we got a lot of money too, didn't we?
So have you quantified that against our obligations?
Exactly.
No, I'm asking you. This is what the media please do for Ghanaians. How much did we get?
Okay.
How much was our obligations? We run what I describe as a negative effective tax rate economy. That's how I explain all these things. But we need to understand these things in their context, not just comment because people do not understand. Look, if you come to SHS, the challenges my brother, honorable member, is listing them. Were they not there before free SHS? Even their time, chalk, if you could remember, it was difficult for even education service to have access to chalk. Simple, normal chalk. What are we talking about? Chalk. I'm saying chalk. So don't let us, and NDC never, ever started free SHS. God will judge all of us. Look, is it not the same NDC that you remember? Let me finish. No, let me finish this before I ask you a question. Let me ask you, please. I'm coming. Let me end with this, or let me finish. Then ask me a question. National health insurance. When we're passing it in Parliament, the NDC guys left Parliament in disagreement. Then when we started and they saw Ghanaians were buying into it, they said that they started in Kransa and Techiman, which were started by the Roman Catholics. In fact, 1998. Senate and other bodies submitted a paper to the then former president, His Excellency, late, yes, about the fact that we had to replace cash and carry. He said what they had submitted was very good, but the economic capacity of this country could not. You see, when the NDC guy realized that they were attacking free SHS, you all saw it in this country. But when they realized that the Ghanaians were kind of buying into it and was giving MPP more goodwill and political leverage and capital, then they wanted to be very smart and cunning. And they're like, oh, we started free SHS. Every young child in this country knows that free SHS was MPP's baby and implemented. In fact, almost all pro-poor policies in this country, which one is implemented? But they are the Social Democrats. In economics, they are supposed to adopt what I describe as contractional fiscal policies. That all these free things, they should have done them. But they came and canceled teachers' allowance, nurses' allowance. It look like, because they have this propaganda mouthpiece, they always want to deceive.
Because the thing is, if we leave you, I know you go on and on, and there are so many arguments you can make to support your claim. But we do two main issues, and then we have to go. I want to ask one question. Quickly, please.
My brother, is it the Attorney General? He's saying that he's a man of reputation. Honestly, that's a fact. I'll not lie, because I've come close to him.
Okay.
But you cannot exonerate him what is happening. Okay, why didn't he then allow the legal process to go on? If you even didn't like the judges, we are in this country, they change judges. So that the legal process would have taken its course. Because we have a constitution. We have separations of powers. In fact, among the three, the one whose sovereignty in terms of limitation, or unlimited whatever, stand tall, is the judiciary. No, it's the constitution which gives that thing to the judiciary. Even the executive and the legislature, ours is not like the UK one. It's quite limited. So I understand maybe he has information that we don't have, which could warrant this. For Ghanaians to have confidence in this government and in him and his outfit, he should have made the court and the judicial processes continue to the end that we'll know that, oh, these people are cleared. That is all. Right. But if you say that, I'll leave it. If another person can continue. No,
but how should he?
He didn't say that.
Oh,
but
we concluded with that here. But how should he have progressed on the ones that he said, I have been a counsel in these cases before? And therefore, as AG, I can also go against an argument that I have put forth before. How was he supposed to have dealt with?
Before you ended this, you and my brother here made us aware, Ghanaians are watching. I'm not saying you were wrong. That, the way it is, he might have even had further information and resurrect the case. Or another AG can come and resolve it. He said it. Now I'm saying that all these things are options.
Didn't say that. These are our analysis.
Okay,
so
fine.
Don't say that
He
didn't say that.
Let me finish. I agree. Okay. But what I'm saying is, if these are all analysis from relevant stakeholders from us and for the entire Ghanaian community, why didn't let the case continue? Right now, even between me and him, that we are in opposition. We are in government, and we have different ideologies.
Not in opposition.
Sorry, we are having different political ideologies and fraternities. Because of our relationship, beyond this debate, if I am Attorney General and I'm handling his case, I may be, I don't want to continue. So the man might have had all the whatever in this world. He works with authority. He works with people who could influence him. He may be right or wrong.
Exactly. But he said he consulted widely a number of people.
For him to terminate, is it agreeing well for the democracy of this country? That the same party's Attorney General kind of exonerating and terminating cases against his own people. I think it raises a lot of concern.
No, wait, let me. On the issue of the judges, I think it's important we put this.
It raises a lot of concerns.
Okay.
I'm coming, Doc. I think that, look, where our time is, or we're just wrapping up. But let's deal with the revocation.
Let's do the economy.
The revocation of the employment. Let me give you 2 minutes on it. He will also take 2 minutes, and there we go.
But then let me come in, and I will do it.
Well, you have 2 minutes, so you can choose to use that.
I just wanted to respond to something that he said. Then I can use the other minute to comment on the revocation.
So you said I should talk.
No, that's why. Let him do. You take your 2 minutes.
You see, it's important that we put this across so that it doesn't look like the Attorney General accused the judges for no reason. I mean, he gave specific, instances. For example, in the Opuni case, he says that somebody was accused of perjury. Perjury. And it was clear that the perjury charge would have, the judge would have had no reason not to rule in favor of the accused, in this case, Opuni, because the evidence was so telling, and he pointed to the evidence, because he said one thing and then said another, and the investigations corroborated the first thing he said, which was the truth and the lie. Then the judge decided that he will rule on the perjury case after the substantive matter. I mean, look, somebody takes you to court and accuses you of murder and brings Brace as his witness. And Brace confirms that you are a murderer. But in the process, your lawyer points out that Brace is a liar. And there's evidence that he is a liar. And the judge says, oh, I will determine whether he's a liar or not after I sentence you for the murder.
On the revocation.
That is simply unreasonable. That is untenable. Right. That is what the Attorney General was saying. It was as if it was staged. So you go to jail first. When you go to jail, when we later prove that he's a liar, you come out. Okay. I mean, what justice does it serve? And that is why he thought that some of the judges were not, being fair. On the revocation...
You've used your entire 2 minutes on this.
Well, on the revocation, I don't even have much to say. I don't even have much to say.
So the
chief of staff is working according to the script that all political leaders have worked with in this country every time there's a change of government. It's the script.
All right.
And it is for fairness.
All right, great.
Let me tell you, I condemn what is happening. It is not in good faith. It is not supporting democracy.
Has it ever been?
It's destroying Ghana, and it must not be continued. In the first place, his own brother and my own brother, Honorable Agbana, in Parliament, ask him. He always praises me. Always. Ask him. When I was appointed as CEO, I never sacked any NDC guy. In fact, he was even scared because of his political nature and came to my office, Chief, I know we will be sacked, so I want to go. I said, no, my brother, I will not do that. If people do that, it is wrong. Stay. If you now stay and you want to go one day, you can go. We shouldn't entertain these things. Two, even if it is a precedent which breaches the human rights laws or fundamental human rights of Ghanaians and our constitution, our laws, why did you people think or the Asempa Neba? Why did you think new NDC? So the Asempa is that people who have been duly given appointment letters should be sacked. The same Ghanaians that our taxes...
Some of them bought it.
Can I finish?
Some of them bought it.
But
that
from
is
where?
Not fair process.
So when you prove...
Look, yesterday we had a conversation. We spoke to the Minister of
Some of them will sell the case to court. Some of them...
How can you sell appointments to people?
So
that's not fair process.
What you're talking about, what shows? Where is the evidence?
Well,
where is the evidence?
If you open your phone lines now, people will text you.
Oh, how? And you believe...
I've challenged another station like this before, and the evidence came.
The time is up. I
have challenged another station like this before, and the evidence came.
Yeah, allow him.
People paid for those appointments. That's not fair process. That Asempa is the Asempa will stand to ensure that people don't pay for appointments.
Allow him.
The process will be now.
The point I'm making is that when I got the opportunity, I didn't go that way.
Which is good.
And there's evidence.
And commendable.
And today I'm saying that whether NDC did, MPP did, NDC did, MPP did, and the country is not moving forward, do we keep on entertaining these things? That is the question. So I am saying that as a country, we need to redefine our corporate focus. God knows my heart is not because MPP is in opposition or whatever. Definitely one day there will be power change.
Okay.
I will not advocate for these dysfunctional behavior because they are dysfunctional to the performance of our republic. And it's not arguing well for the good people of this country. Okay. It's not good. That is why this issue about, anyway, this free SHS, we should go like those who are on top of our social, stratification should rather be allowed to be paid. Okay. Not that it's not good. Do you know why it will not work? Even the scholarship scheme, when MPP guys are in power, about 90% the MPP boys. When the NDC guys are in power, 90% will be NDC boys.
Unfortunately,
so these are some of the
that's all that time will allow
we need
us
to look
for
at
those who
change.
join us for the conversation
we
this
have
morning.
To change.
Al-Hassan Suini is the Member of Parliament for Tamale North and Deputy Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. We also have Dr. Stephen Amwa, Member of Parliament for Inshaiso and former Deputy Minister of Finance. Thank you all so much for joining us. But there's a lot more coming your way on the AM show. We'll be right back. Away from the politics, let's talk about some businesses now. Obed Mbra is with me in studio. He is growth lead for West Africa, Wakanao and Calabash. Obed, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Right, so I know about Wakanao, but I haven't heard Calabash. So tell us what Wakanao and Calabash is about and what services you offer.
Okay, so Wakanao is the parent company. We're branded as a travel tech company.
Okay.
We're the first travel tech company in Africa, to be precise, and Calabash happens to be the fintech arm of Wakanao.
So what should we expect from Wakanao this year?
So last year, because it was an election year, travel was hindered a little. So this year, we're looking forward to giving all the discounts to
Go on. Yeah.
To all our customers and even new people that are looking forward to travel. So if it's your plan to travel this year, please don't hesitate to contact Wakanao. We are ready to serve you and we are ready to give you all when it comes to travel.
You said travel tech.
Yeah.
Is that different from travel and tour services?
Yes, so...
Because I want it to be as specific as possible. Does it mean you aid visa acquisition and all that, or it's an app where you... it helps facilitate your travel needs? Exactly what do you do? Like, for example, if I want to go to the Schengen area and I say, Obed, help me get there, what will you do for me?
Okay, so let me start by saying, so Wakanao is in itself like a travel mall. So you enter this mall, the Wakanao world. There's tickets, that's flights. There's hotel. There's visa assistance. There's so many. Anything that has to do with travel.
Okay.
So that umbrella of Wakanao covers all these things.
You see, now we are talking.
Yes. Yeah. So if you want to tour Europe this year, yes, Wakanao can help you. We can assist you with your visa.
Okay.
If you want to go to China, if you want to go to Dubai, have a vacation, Wakanao can assist you.
Okay. Tomorrow is Valentine. Do you have any special packages coming up?
Yes, we do.
Tell us about them.
So we have two folds. We have a package at Ibis Styles, Airport City. And then we have another package at La Palme Royal. So for those who are looking forward to treating their loved ones tomorrow, please give us a call. With as little as 400 cedis per person for single, you're sure to have a good time tomorrow. And it's a one-time thing, so please, don't let it pass by. I'm entreating everyone. Please give us a call.
Okay. We have to put out your contact details and all that, but so for someone who's interested in the Valentine package, is it too late?
It's not too late.
It's not too late. Okay.
It's not too late. Okay. So you can kindly call us on 024 243 5515. I repeat, 024 243 5515, and an experienced agent will assist you. And then you just go forward with it.
That's a really lovely photo there.
Yes.
You don't want to miss it. So I see you have something at La Palme.
Yeah.
You also mentioned Ibis.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So where are you located?
Okay, so...
In case someone, some people don't trust online services. They want to come to you.
It's very
Where
true.
are you?
So we currently have, in Ghana, we have 9 different locations. 6 in Accra. So we are at the China Mall. Okay. At Ashaman.
Okay.
We have 2 branches at East Legon, one close to Aduanepa,
okay,
and then one on the Boundary Road.
Okay.
Our HQ is located at the Millennium Heights, Airport City. And then we have one at Kanishi, we have one at West Hills, and then we have also another branch in Kumasi, Takrade, and then Tamale, to be precise.
Okay. My final question to you would be, why should anyone trust you, or why should they choose you over the other options they may have?
Okay, so Wakana is making travel not just limited to those who can afford it. So anything what our business focus is to get travel as much possible to everyone. So whatever deals we are getting from the airline, we are sharing with everyone. Yes. So please be on our social media pages, on our app, on our website. You can tell every deal we get from the airline, we share with you. So it's highly good for you to come to us than go to any other person.
Okay. Just so that we don't lose anyone who's interested, give us your contact details one more time and then we go. Okay.
So Wakana is online. As I mentioned, you can go onto our website. You can also download our app.
What is it? What's the website?
So our website is www.wakanow.com. Wakanow.com.
Right.
You can also visit our social media handles, Instagrams, Facebook, all at WakanowGH. And also for telephone numbers, you can call us on 024-243-5515. I repeat, 024-243-5515. And we will assist you.
Thank you, Obed.
Thank you, Sweetie.
Obed Mbro is growth lead for West Africa at Wakanow and Calabash. And they have juicy packages for you for tomorrow's Valentine's Day. If you're interested, go to their website or give them a call and they'll give you everything that you need. We will be wrapping up in a bit, but let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll do that.
All right, so welcome back. Let's just wrap up the show. But let's give you this, because select a solar system from our various solar packages ranging from 30,000 to 99,000 cedis. All our solar systems come with lithium-ion batteries. Get a solar water heater, a solar home system, a solar power station, or a solar generator ranging from 1,000 watts to 20,000 watts. We also sell reverse osmosis machines for water treatment. Google SolarMate Ghana to find us on both Facebook and Instagram. You can contact SolarMate Ghana on 050-832-0470. SolarMate Ghana is located at Adjungano East Legon. SolarMate, we go everywhere.
Well, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. And we know that you want something strong, something reliable, and definitely something that won't let you down. But Chale, we're not just talking about bail. I mean, yes, get a bail, but we're talking about Syntex tank. Like true love, Syntex tanks are built to last, and they handle pressure like a pro. Stay solid through the ups and the downs and promise no disappointment. So this Valentine, whether you're storing water or storing memories, choose something that will stick with you for the long haul. Simply call 0244-335-168 or visit www.syntexgh.com to get yours today. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. And that's our show for today. Folks, thank you so much for staying with us. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Do you have a babe? Do you have a Valentine?
You also do have one.
Do I?
You know what? Just before we go, the Western region, the one who won for the Council of State, he says, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to each of you who believed in our dream and shared our vision. Your unwavering support and trust have been a true source of inspiration, and it has been a privilege to connect with so many dedicated and passionate individuals. I am reminded of a commitment I made to serve you with all my strength and humility on the day of voting. I want to reaffirm my commitment to working tirelessly on behalf of our region and our party, and I'm excited to collaborate with His Excellency, the President, John Dramani Mahama, to bring about the meaningful changes we need. Together, let's strive to make our region a beacon of hope and progress where every person has access to opportunities, resources, and support to thrive. I am proud to be on this journey with you, and I look forward to serving you with dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment. Sincerely, Dr. Maxwell Boache, Council of State Member-elect, Western Region.
I see you going to Parliament, Kojo Brace. But that's our show, folks. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're back tomorrow, same time, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. But for now, stay for Joy News Desk. Serve by Emefa Akosia Adeti. Bye for now. Mwah.